about some other sports, but just football alone, if you're playing in the NSIC, you're in one of, if not the best conference in of Division II. I mean, it's a tough road for these teams to get through, isn't it?
It's not an easy 11 weeks, and there's no, you don't start off easy anywhere. So week one, you got to come out ready to play, and we've seen that in the past. You could go through this league and have one loss and not make the NCAA playoffs. So all of our teams have to come out prepared and ready to go, and we have a very talented group of coaches in the sport of football, and we have a lot of young men that are working on their degree and have the good fortune of playing intercollegiate athletics and start their competition today.
You mentioned it's a tough 11 weeks for these guys. What's it like for you? I mean, are you on the road hitting a game every week or what?
You know, I try to get to as many games as I can. I enjoy watching the competition, but you know, we do what we can. There's 16 schools. It's hard to get to them all in just 11 weeks, but throughout the academic year, we make it a priority to get on our campuses. We want to make sure we remember what it feels like, the pulse of the campus. That's where all the energy is. So days like today are really special for us.
Talk about the conference as a whole. There's been a lot of change, like I mentioned, with some of the NCC teams coming aboard a few years ago or a number of years ago. College conferences are in a state of change all over the country, it seems like. Where does the NSIC stand right now? Is it obviously pretty happy with the membership that it has?
Yeah, I think that growth in conferences in the Division II level has stabilized itself, and we've put together some legislation from the NCAA that has created some maximum numbers that need to be there. I think as a conference commissioner, you always need to be aware of membership issues. Things change at institutions, but our job as a conference is to provide the best home for all of our member institutions, and that's challenging because the institutions are different in size, in terms of enrollment, different facilities, different sports they sponsor. So what we're doing is we are going to provide the best services possible to make the Northern Sun in Division II the best home for 16 schools.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for your time. Enjoy your time up here.
Thank you so much.
All right, Erin Lynn, she is the commissioner of the NSIC. We'll be back with more from Dragons Live at opening day coming up next.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Scheels.
I'm me, and I used to be just like you, watching one game at a time, eating terrible snacks. Ugh. But thanks to Buffalo Wild Wings' 17-week program, I am now football rich. Now, I'm not talking dollars rich. I'm talking all the games, great food, beer, chairs. But don't just take my word for it. Take somebody else's word for it.
Before the B-Dubs program, I thought I was football rich. Turns out, I'm just rich from football.
Time. Fantastic. If you've ever dreamt of swimming in a sea of football riches, now is the place.
Opening day, we are about 20 minutes away from scheduled kickoff between the Dragons and Winona State. Again, first game under the lights on the brand new Scheels turf. It's going to be a great evening, and one of the guys behind this evening is the athletic director, Doug Peters, and I always have to start out by saying no relation. Maybe for your benefit, I don't know, maybe not so much mine, but a big night here. I mean, is this one of the biggest nights or biggest activities since you've been the AD here?
It's definitely in the top three. You know, when you start to think about the run we had in men's basketball last year, there were some big events within that. But I think as far as starting the year off, I've always said football is the engine that pulls the train. It is definitely the biggest start we've had around an athletic year and with football.
It's the opening game of the season, which is always big. It's under the lights, which I think makes it a little bit bigger. You've got a great new turf, $1 million turf, in addition to the lights out here. I mean, this is more of an event than just a game. Isn't that kind of what you would like to see down the road?
Absolutely. That's what we envisioned when we started. For those of you that have followed the Dragons and athletics in Fargo-Moorhead over the last couple decades, you know, the loss of the rivalry game with our partners down the street because of our conference scheduling, that was a big loss to the community of Moorhead. And I see tonight as an opportunity to bring that type of event back into our community where we have thousands of people at a game cheering on a home team and really having that community event as you see the bounce houses and all the things that we've got going on tonight.
Well, you mentioned that game with Concordia that people, I think, including myself, used to look forward to a lot. There's challenges from both conferences and both schedules on either side. Is that at all discussed or something that might happen down the road?
It is. It's something we bring up every time in the NSIC, something I bring up every time we talk about scheduling, because right now we play a closed conference schedule, which seems to be the trend in Division II. I don't think it's healthy for Division II. I don't think it's healthy for our league because it takes out some of those rivalry games. All of a sudden, we can't play Concordia. Wayne State can't play Nebraska-Kearney. There are some great natural rivalries in there. And so it is disappointing that we have that closed conference schedule. And it is that ongoing conversation. I hope someday we get the opportunity where I can call up Coach Rand and say, hey, want to play a football game? And see what he says.
Well, talk about the field that's behind you. A lot went into Scheels Field. It was an outstanding donation by the Scheels company. How big was that for this athletic department?
You know, it was huge. As we look at where Dragon Athletics has come over the past several years, we were able to do some things inside, and it was a one-time piece. And coming back and be able to do the field, it shows that we're going to do what we say we're going to do, that there is some credibility what's going on, and it's a huge thing for me. A lot of people have said, you know, Scheels is kind of big out there on your field, and I say darn right, because I'm awfully proud to be associated with such a great company.
And what can this do not only for the athletic department, but for the institution as a whole when people come to the school and see what you have now?
It has been a game changer in a variety of ways. It's something that we can show from a facility standpoint to recruits, both athletic and non-athletic. And then the exciting part for me is the very first official event on this field. It was a carnival welcome night for our freshmen coming in. So you had 700 freshmen running around out here, playing games, doing different things underneath the lights. And it gave them a good feel, and it was a place to be outside that was fun. It was well lit. We were playing the, I don't know what you call it, when you put the big blow-up ball on and you're playing soccer and trying to knock each other down, you know, to bag toss. It was all going on out here. And so the use of the field is more than just football. It has an impact on activities like that. The use of it by our club sports and our other teams is huge because in the past, you've tried to protect the grass. And the football team has really only been on the field on game day and the day before. Now they're out here practicing every day. You've got other teams that are using it for some of their preseason conditioning as well as all those club sports.
We can see now some of the tangible things that have been part of the progress in the athletic department. Behind us is certainly one of the big ones. What's still on the horizon? What's on your to-do list, I guess, so to speak?
You know, we want to continue in those three major areas. We want to continue adding staff. We want to continue increasing our scholarships. We want to continue improving our facilities. And we've made a great start, but by no means are we done.
Well, I talked to Steve Lockway about scholarships as well, and that was an area where the Dragons, at least in terms of the conference, really lagged behind. But that's not the case anymore. How important is that for all the programs here at MSUM to get the tools to work with, so to speak?
You know, as we head into our next 10-year plan, it's one of the key pieces is we have hit a level of competitiveness from a funding standpoint within the league, and now we have to adjust to having some of that money because we haven't had it from a scholarship standpoint and learning how to spend it a little better, a little wiser, and what the right type of kid for MSUM is. So as we do that, then it's, again, trying to fix those other facilities and also add to our staff because at the end of the day, it's all about people. And if we've got the people to get people, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
When you see the money that's coming in from the Scheels, Pasica's giving money for the business college. What's the atmosphere like here at MSUM these days when there seems to be so much positive energy and more people stepping up to give back?
Well, there is some definite momentum, and I got to give President Blackhurst credit for that. As she assumed the presidency, one of her goals was to be more visible in the community, and we have definitely done that, and I think people have appreciated that, and we've got a greater level of engagement because of that. You look at this last year, our Alumni Foundation set a record. I mean, we raised over $9 million last year, and we have hopes that that's maybe another record that we can break again. And just thinking about the number of people that are supporting MSUM, it makes you feel good coming to work because there are people behind you and they believe in what you're trying to do. Because no one at MSUM is getting rich by any means. We get paid and we have jobs and we're excited about that. But we come to work every day because we're excited to transform our students and help them go out and transform the world. And that's what we get passionate about.
And it's a lot of students that don't partake in athletics or club sports, but things like this in the athletic department can really be the first thing that a lot of those prospective students see. Isn't that why athletics in one way is so important here?
Absolutely. I believe that athletics is the front porch of the university. There is a sports section that is in the paper every day. There is a sports segment in almost every newscast, and it is the first thing that people are going to think of when they think of an institution because they see it so often. And I've always said is if our athletic department can get as good as our academic departments, we're going to win national championships because our academics are that good. Right. And they've set the bar and we're just trying to get there.
I know it's been a busy day and a busy few months, so go have some fun tonight.
I am. Thank you for hosting this show. Unbelievable. I don't know how many Division II programs in the country on their opening night are doing a pregame show like this, and it's awesome to have an alum like you hosting it. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and love being a part of it. That's it for Dragon Live at opening day. Get ready for a little pregame and then kickoff coming up in just a few minutes. Dragons and Warriors coming up next.
All right, perfect. I gotta go do some stuff. Thank you so much. Take care, buddy.
Valley Imports has something for everyone. It's that easy.
What I love about bow hunting is the challenge, the physical challenge, the mental challenge. I love the fact that it's not easy. 12 years it took me to shoot a trophy whitetail buck. It's what I breathe, eat, sleep, bow hunting. When I'm working with a customer, I want my passion to rub off on them. I am Brandon Carlson, and I'm one of the archery experts at Scheels.
Around here, there's more than one way to live. And at Gate City Bank, there's more than one way to bank. We create banking to fit you. So whatever your way of life, we make it better. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Today's game is brought to you by our corporate partners. The Courtyard by Marriott, the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead, Valley Imports, Matt Bus, WDAY's Extra, Richards Transportation, the MSUM Bookstore, Sanford Health, Gate City Bank, Mid-Continent Communications, Valley Pre-Owned, Moorhead Public Service, State Farm Agent David Eggers, Travelodge, Promotional Solutions, Pepsi, Pizza Patrol, Subway, Shucks Bus Service, Scheels All Sports, and Minnesota State University Moorhead.
Last season, the MSU Moorhead Dragons set 15 different school records.
They have Mad Hog loose. Mad Hog gone again. Can you say 5 touchdowns for Zane Medhog.
But they fell a little short in the only record that counts, wins and losses.
Here's an interception. Solomon St. Pierre with his third today. Lloyd wants to put it up. He's got a man open. It's Buford again, his third touchdown today.
They did win their final 3 games in 2014, and now they look to continue their winning ways here in 2015. It's Thursday night football for the first time ever at MSUM. It's football under the lights for the first time in 3 decades. It's football for the first time on this gorgeous brand new field. It's Dragons football next, here on WDAY's Extra. Last season, the MSU Moorhead Dragons set 15 different school records.
They have Athletics are proud to present Minnesota State University Moorhead Dragons football. Tonight, it's the Dragons against the Winona State Warriors. It is hot, it is humid, but it is historic here on opening day at Scheels Field here at Alex Nemzik Stadium in Moorhead. My name is Steve DeStacio. It's my privilege to be with you for a 19th season here with MSUM. My broadcast partner for tonight just became a member of the Northern Sun Hall of Fame, his third in his illustrious career, Larry Scott. We don't have a lot of time here during the intro, but assess this backdrop. This is absolutely gorgeous here tonight.
Oh, well, it's fabulous. And I tell you, Steve, with all the pageantry and the spectacular backdrop of Scheels Field, which you'll get to later, it's a gorgeous setting for college football. But beyond that, beyond some of that lies a storyline, and I think we have the promise of indeed a very, very good football game tonight between Winona State and MSU Moorhead.
Dragons take on Winona State. Like we mentioned, with everything going on, how great it is, there is an important football game here tonight. Now let's go to the video board. We have a special presentation as we welcome the 2015 MSU Moorhead Dragons.
I know who you came here to see. If you a freak, then you come on with me. And I know what you came here to do. Now bust it open, let me see you get loose. It's going down for real. It's going down for real. It's going down for real.
Yo, girl, just kiss the girl. I do buy shit. Shake for a shake. I'm throwing these Emirates in the sky. Spinning this Assalamu alaikum. Peace to MONEY. I love my beaches. South beaches. Surfboard and high tide. I can just roll up, cause I'm swole up. So that birthday cake get the Cobra. Bugatti for real, I'm Cobra. The autobiography rover. Got the key to my city, it's over. No thoughts, only in the color covers. I said rackets, ratchets, hold up.
I said rackets, ratchets, hold up. I know who you came here to see. If you a freak, then you come on with me. And I know what you came here to do. Now bust it open, let me see.
Steve DeStacio, Larry Scott with you as we take you up to 6 o'clock with the Dragons taking on Winona State. We're going to have the coin toss. We're going to have a special presentation of the game ball and a great national anthem ahead of us, Scotty. It's gorgeous, like we mentioned a couple of moments ago. a brand new field, under the lights, historic night here. But like we mentioned, you know what? Winona State didn't come up here to make this a truly spectacular night. That's a good football team.
Oh, yeah. They'd love nothing more than to crash this party, right? And we look at this, Steve, we mentioned their ancient rivals. They've been playing since 1932, and there was a time when the Dragons kind of ruled the league in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, but it was Winona State that had the biggest footprint right in the 90s. I think they won 10 conference titles under Coach Sawyer. Now, they waned a little bit, the Warrior Star a little bit the last couple of years, 2 rare losing seasons. But in talking to Coach Sawyer today, he said the one thing they've got is they're healthy. He said they had a terrible run of bad luck with health last year. He's very optimistic. He thinks they have all the stuff to make a serious run in the South, and so we anticipate certainly a marvelous showdown today against a couple of clubs, particularly explosive on the offensive side.
Yeah, this could be first one to 50 by 2, can it? This is going to be offensive showcase.
It can be, Stephen, but the one interesting question for a lot of people, they've asked it all year, is the Dragon defense really improved? Now, you know, admittedly, last year I think the Dragons were first in offense, dead last in defense, so everybody knew they needed an upgrade there. And one of the reasons for the optimism, a young man named Michael Strand in at free safety, and I've always said he's a ball hawk, a talented free safety, can cover a lot of sins. Certainly he can't shoulder the thing all by himself. After all, he's just a freshman, but it's one reason to expect improved defensive play this year.
Let's go down to the 50-yard line. Here is the coin toss, and you can see how windy it is as the coin lands about 8 yards downfield.
Defer, receive, kick, or defend the goal. I'm going to defer to the second half. You want the ball? From which end will you kick? I'm going to kick that way. If you put your back to your goal, please. Winona won the toss. We'll defer to the second half. Moorhead will receive the north goal. Good luck.
Don't adjust your dials. If you're watching us at home, we appreciate over this supper time hour. It is breezy here. Maybe it's almost a godsend because it is so hot here. I think today's the hottest day of the year at 94 degrees.
Yeah, it's almost tropical, right? You know, you could play this thing next to the Amazon River. This thing is really hot in the Red River Valley, but we know, of course, this doesn't last for long. It'll cool down shortly. So it will be a test today. But, you know, we did talk to the trainers about that. They're well aware of that. The possibility of cramping, they've already taken some precautions. So hopefully all that will unfold without any drama.
Is going to be present. Helicopter tonight. What can Brown do for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's an upgrade, but we thank the people from UPS. It's a nice gesture, certainly. And we know the president is here, of course, Dr. Blackhurst, watching this game with great anticipation, like so many of us are. But the ball's being run out now to the officials, and we're not long away from the kickoff. And as we mentioned, Steve, it is a wonderful setting here. I know we'll talk a lot about that because it's very unique. The Dragons on artificial turf at home for the first time. But again, it really goes way beyond that. And Stephen, I think this is an ideal matchup. I know the Dragons could have probably opened up against somebody else, and this is certainly going to be a difficult challenge, but 2 old rivals, right? What could be better?
Rolf Erickson, our referee, and his fine crew that are going to officiate this game just got the game ball from UPS. Just a great job by starting at the top with Doug Peters, Chad Marcus, and John Webking, and the rest who have worked many, many hours to make sure that this is truly a great event. It is a football game that's going to start in just a few minutes, but an event. And now, getting set here on the track, we're going to have a national anthem, which is really terrific with a local flavor. This is the 7th and 8th graders from Horizon Middle School. So now let's let David Tack give the rest of the introductions as we get set for our national anthem here before the Dragons take on Winona State.
The official for tonight's competition are referee Wolf Erickson, umpire John Caldwell, line state Jack Johnson, line judge Scott Hill, side judge Jared Buxton, and field judge Jerry Hughes.
Let's take a look at our Valley Imports key matchup. Let's see if the Dragons' defensive line can get some pressure on quarterback Jack Nelson to help eliminate or at least slow down this powerful Winona State offense. And there you see the graphic, our key matchup. You know what, Scotty? Let's take a look at Jake Hodge. We all know what he can do offensively. He's also had a bad hip. He got a cortisone shot late last week. Let's see how his hip reacts in this heat.
Yeah, preliminary reports very encouraging that way, and he certainly expects to play. We know he's a tough hombre, so the Dragons certainly expect him to play. It is an advantage for them. They feel blessed with a real talented backup in Demetrius Carr. They may not need him, but he, of course, has started one game in college. Mechanically, they really like him, and Chris is perhaps the Dragon quarterback of the future. So they are in pretty good shape there, but you're right. Hodge, the senior, this is his year.
Carter McCauley has the ball teed up at the 35-yard line. He'll be kicking with the wind here, which is blowing from south to north. Sheldon Jones II and Zane Medhog are back deep for the Dragons. What a crowd and what an atmosphere here on opening day at Scheels Field. We've been talking about this for a long, long time, and now it's time to start the football season right about now. High end-over-end kick. This is going to go through the end zone. Nearly go to where Scott Peters just did the pregame show. Let's take a look at the Dragons' offense. Here starting tonight, Benon Bierman, Joe Brahman-Schenkel start on the left-hand side of the center. There he is, Jack Bixler weighing in 300 pounds. Damian Crawford, Troy Peterson on the right side. Montplaisir gets to start at tight end. Adam Jisker was over 1,000 yards last season. And there's Jake Hodge starting for the Dragons. First play from scrimmage. Jake Hodge fumbles the football. Did he get it back? Yes, he did. Near disaster on the opening play.
Yeah, Stephen, you mentioned that Dragon offensive line. A lot of experience here. Last year we talked a lot about one senior starter, right? And Grotham, he's got it, but he is gone. But in place we have a lot of veterans. And of course you mentioned Bierman and Peterson. That's, what, 66 career starts between them. So this year, a lot of experience on the Dragon front.
Corey Ambrose in motion on 2nd and 11. Hodge wants to put it up, and in the backfield, Zane Medhog. They're going to say that was a lateral. He lost more yardage. Let's take a look at the Winona State defense. They start Brown, Thrill, and Wood up front. Seniors Colin Corcoran and Ian Murray lead a talented foursome of linebackers, and all NSIC named candidates. Sir Vegas Steele starts at cornerback for the Warriors. Two plays that have both gone backwards for the Dragons. It's 3rd and 16.
Well, we've mentioned that they were anxious. They couldn't wait for this game to start, and perhaps it is a little bit of nerves early on the first two snaps for the Dragons.
Hodge in trouble. Now he's going to run. He's got some room. He needs to get to the 35-yard line. He's going to end up about 1.5 yards short. Is it too early to throw the dice?
No, illustration of what can happen, right? Hodge scrambled, nice play, first down, took a good whack. And so that's another thing, you know, at some point, how much punishment can that young man take? But a nice scramble that time.
A yard shy of the first down. They're going to go for it in their own territory at the 34-yard line. 4th and 1.
Well, you'd be punting into the wind, too, wouldn't you, Stephen? Maybe that's a consideration as well.
As well as I think that Lockway just loves his offense. Hodge has got a quick kick into the wind. Nobody back for Winona State. And it's going to go down at the 30-yard line. That's a 36-yard punt against the wind. That's not bad.
No return. Well done. And we both kind of wondered, in fact, indeed, were they really going for it or maybe trying to get the offside? They knew exactly what they were doing. The punting situation, as you'll get to in a minute, Steve, is a little bit unsettled anyway, so the Dragons might have a few concerns there. But an early stop so far, so high marks right away for the Winona defense. And now the rebuilt Dragon defense, its first test of the year as the Warriors take over beginning at the 30.
There's the Winona State starting offensive line. They average 305 pounds. Darrell Clark is the lone running back. Josh Mikas, number 81, he's the one to keep an eye on for quarterback Jack Nelson. They go to Darrell Clark up the middle, and he's going to get hit immediately. Terrific open field tackle by Abe Rourke, who was up amongst the leaders in the NSIC last year, and now we have an injured Warrior, and this will give us a chance to take a look at the Dragons defense here to start the 2015 season. There it is, Darlene Dredlow, Jake Bussey, we called his name a lot last year. Nick Eklund starts at an end. Aaron Bowl and Jesse Belke will surround Joe Rademacher, who's starting for Chris Lee, who's out the first couple weeks with mono. And there's your defensive back, Scott, and I know you love number 14, Michael Strand.
Yeah, and Rourke, the strong safety, a big hitter. Now, the corners are experienced veterans that have been here before. They were picked on a lot last year in today's passing game, but they've matured. Coach Fatlin likes their progress that they made. He has a lot of confidence in the corners, but I think one of the tipping points could be the play of Strand. It might be early to get on his bandwagon, but he's a very talented young guy from Barnesville. Came here as a wide receiver, found a home in the Dragon defensive backfield.
While you were talking, Ralph Erickson was letting us know that Sheldon Jones was tangled up with one of the Warriors. It's offsetting penalties. Not only is the temperature high here, 2 minutes and 23 seconds into the ball game, apparently so are tempers. It's 2nd and 8 for Winona State, their first offensive possession behind quarterback Jack Nelson, who threw for nearly 3,000 yards last year. Wants to go up top, throws complete, and a flag comes in as Sheldon Jones makes the tackle. Dylan Alforts, a senior out of Shakopee, Minnesota, they've got a nice casino there, makes the catch.
Yeah, that looked like pretty tight coverage that time by Jones, but he did get the completion and a flag. We're going to see what this is. It came in a little after the catch, I thought, but Jones right there, step for step with the Warrior wideout.
Pass interference, defense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Number 1, automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
He bumped him just a tad early, but Alford still made the catch.
Yeah. Oh, tough job, isn't it? I mean, it's hard enough following these guys, and then what appeared to be pretty good coverage, as if you've done your job pretty well, you're still penalized for it. So the Warriors now with the 1st and 10 at their 41.
Winona State averaged 388 yards last season. They go back to the ground. Clark finds the right end, then he gets belted. Abe Rourke's going to finish him off after he picks up a couple of yards. MSU Moorhead and Dragon Athletics would like to take a moment again to thank our partner Scheels. Tonight's opening day at Scheels Field would not be possible without their generous donation. From all of us here at MSUM, thank you again, Scheels, for being tonight's game sponsor and for this terrific and gorgeous setting.
Yeah, and it's going to benefit a lot of people at this university, not just the football team, but a lot of young men and women have a chance to participate on here, and they're very thankful.
Mikes with time, throws complete, near side. With running room on the near side is Eric Berth, a redshirt freshman out of Winona, and he's into Dragon territory, and once again, Winona State moves the sticks.
Yeah, boy, it's really tough defending today's spread offenses. And number one, you got to make sure that you are in the right spot, and that by itself can be a complicated task. And then when you get there, a lot of times in a case like that, you've got to make a tackle in open space. You got to make a difficult play, and so, man, it is a challenge today for the defensive units in college football.
Nelson. There's the pressure that we had talked about. For the Dragons, Ryan Dahlin. Remember our Dragons' key to a victory tonight? They got no pressure on Nelson. He had all day to throw the ball. Here, he had to get rid of it quickly.
Yeah, and what you'll see is rotating a lot of defenders. The defensive front will rotate, some of the backers. They'll do that anyway, but that's especially meaningful tonight, right, with this really sultry kind of weather.
They go up the middle. Picking up a couple is Berth. That's his first career carry.
Stephen, they're without their leading runner. Preston was supposed to play. He's off the ball club now. He's been suspended. I don't know when he'll be back. That came up apparently this week, and that was one player the Dragons were terribly concerned about. Not a very big guy, 5'4", but a very efficient running back. And so they've got to lean on some new kids now. I don't know what kind of impact that might have, but no Preston tonight.
715 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. They swing it out. Terrific one-handed catch made by Alan May, a senior out of Adams, Minnesota. And he finds the far sideline, and Winona State has another first down at the Dragon 25-yard line. Here's our first mid-continent replay of the season.
Right, nice pitch and catch there, wasn't it? A nice play that time, and certainly the Warriors advancing 1st and 10 at the 25, putting some heat on the Dragon defense.
All of our replays and our first and second half highlights are sponsored by Mid-Continent Communications. 1st and 10, 25-yard line. Different running back in for Winona State, so they're rotating him as well. This is Elliot Cox barreling ahead for 3 yards. Now we're going to see if the Dragons can come up with a stop here as we hit the 10:30 mark, just underway. The Dragons, after a fumble, an incompleted screen pass, and then a scramble, had to kick it away. And now Winona State is driving at the 23-yard line. 2nd and about 7. Nelson wants to put it up. Throwing, he's got a man. Open. Is Kenny Greer, who originally was listed as a defensive end out of Barrington, Illinois, all the way down to the Dragons' 7-yard line, 1st and goal.
Yeah, missed tackle that time as well. They were able to close and put him down without scoring, but all the way down to the 6, so a rather relentless and determined drive early on here by Winona State.
They give the ball to Darrell Clark. He fumbles, and the Dragons come up with it. We just asked for a Dragon stop, and we get one. Is coming up with a football. Drew Lingle, the sophomore defensive end out of Century High School. Garrett Shelley also there for the Dragons.
Yeah, amazing. Funny game, college football, isn't it? Just apparently dominating, a well put together drive. We no more than gave them our endorsement. The next play, we got a fumble ball, pops loose, and the Dragons take over. Big stop by the Dragons early on.
They are getting this defense serenaded by applause coming off the field. Well deserved, too.
Yeah, and it didn't always happen last year when they came out the field, did it? Let's be honest. They were struggling at times. It was very young, at times inexperienced defense, and they had their hands full. And so it's fun to see them get a little redemption, come up with a big stop early on.
Now let's see if the offense can move the football. They give it to Zane Medhog, looking for the corner. Got it. He'll give the Dragons some breathing room. He picks up 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5. Medhog and Jiskra last year. Medhog finished with 5 touchdowns against Crookston on the ground and 1 through the air for good measure. Both Jiskra and Medhog over 1,000 yards. That's the first time ever a Dragon running back and receiver got 1,000 yards. Swing pass complete. It's Medhog, and he's in trouble, and he's going to go right back to where they started from. And now here comes a late flag as the Dragons face a 3rd down.
Yeah, Medhog indeed a great junior year. 6 touchdowns last year in one ball game. But it just seemed like last year and even into this preseason when you read things, it's all about, so much is about Hodge and Jiskra and the fleet of receivers that the Dragons have. Sometimes I have the feeling somehow the Medhog is overlooked a little bit, not by his teammates, not by his coaches, but he is certainly a quality football player. But the shadow of the other guys is pretty big. But I will tell you, Medhog is extraordinarily important to this Dragon offense.
He rushed for just over 1,100 yards last year, and in 11 games, if my math is correct, that's averaging 100 per game.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist. Offense, number 83, half the distance to the goal. He's decided to decline the penalty. It'll be 3rd down. 3rd down.
If they would have accepted the penalty, it would have given the Dragons better field position. It's on Corey Ambrose. Let's see. There it is right there. Great job by our student-led camera crew as Ambrose cut down Samson Sia.
Yeah, you mentioned Medhog's totals last year, pretty impressive. And I think especially impressive in today's game, right? When the ball is in the air so much, the running game at some schools has kind of gone out of vogue a little bit. But to put up those numbers along with the great Dragon passing numbers of a year ago, that really certainly added a lot to the Dragon offensive package.
3rd and 11 for the Dragons. Hodge from his own end zone in a whole boatload of trouble. Now he's got a whole boatload of running room. He'll get a first down. He'll pick up 12 yards.
Yeah, and I like that pop-up slide at the end. I don't think you would have got him to do that a few years ago, but I mean, they're concerned about that. They've asked him to do that a little bit more. Maybe that's veteran leadership a little bit. Remember, he used to like to run through people. Well, he could probably do that, but they need him upright and on the field. So that time he took the prudent play. First down for the Dragons.
He ducked underneath the armpit of Damian Crawford. 1st and 10, swing pass. Near side, they get it to Medhog. He'll pick up a couple to the near side. Adam Jiskra not involved offensively yet, is coming up with a tackle. Ian Murray, a talented senior linebacker out of Plymouth, Wisconsin. 2nd and 7, just under 8.5 minutes remaining here. First quarter, opening day at Scheels Field as Hunter Broughton goes in motion. Hodge, gonna run it, gets a block from Medhog. He'll find the sidelines before getting walloped by Ryan Kane. That's another Dragon first down.
Yeah, man, he can hurt your course with his arm, but man, is he mobile tonight, Mr. Hodge. You mentioned he had some bruises earlier, but they certainly don't seem to be bothering him right now, and Hodge has the Dragons on their first sustained drive.
Great block that time by Zane Medhog, who eliminated Jarrett Woods, springing Hodge free. First down. They'll do it the conventional way, give it to Medhog. It gets them nowhere. It brings up a 2nd and 10. Get everything Dragons in the palm of your hand with the Dragons mobile app, available now for all of your mobile devices. Get news, schedules, live coverage, tickets, social media, and more. Visit MSUMDragons.com/mobile app today. 2nd and 10 for the Dragons. They started this drive from their own 6 after the fumble recovery. Medhog looking for some running room. He'll backpedal to about the 40-yard line to bring up a 3rd and 7. Dragonfire memberships and season tickets are on sale now. Go to GoDragonfire.com. Support Dragon scholarships while getting the best price on tickets. Join today, and thank you for supporting Dragon Athletics. Hunter Broughton is going to go join Adam Jiskra on the far side. 3rd and about 7 for the Dragons. Jake wants to put it up with time. Now throws. Incomplete. This should draw a flag, and there is none, as Adam Jiskra clearly got hit early by Ryan Kane, but nobody dressed in a striped shirt saw it.
Or did he? It may have
Here's
been
the
just
replay. You tell me.
wonderful coverage.
Well, it looked like Kane was wrapped around him, and they're going to kick it. And pulling double duty this year for the Dragons is Damon Gibson, a sophomore out of Beardsley, Minnesota. This will be his first career kick into about a 25-mile-an-hour breeze. Good snap. High kick, trying to cut through the wind. Fair catch being called for and made at about the 33-yard line by Alan May. Not bad for your first kick into the wind.
No, actually pretty good hang time in that and just getting away into the wind. I was going to make a comment. You couldn't have drawn maybe a more tougher assignment for your first special teams contribution, kicking into the wind, but he handled everything fine, and now the Warriors will take over, though, in pretty decent position at their 33.
Trying to find a commercial. There it is. He's Larry Scott. I'm Steve DeStacio. Let's do our first installment of Stump Scotty if we can. So while we watch Winona State here on first down, Nelson to put it up. Throws over the middle, complete. He has Alan May, who has a ton of running room. He'll finally go down in Dragon territory at the 45-yard line, picking up 22 yards. So here's your first trivia question of the season. Pat Elms rushed for 134 yards and scored 3 touchdowns on the ground, helping the Dragons beat Winona State. It was the last time the Dragons beat Winona State. There's your one of those is the correct answer. What year was it? 76, 86, 96, or 2006? We'll let you fans at home and Scotty ponder this, and we'll get your answer in the second quarter. A little tease for our folks a little tease for our good folks enjoying supper and watching us. How can you enjoy supper and watch us simultaneously?
42 yards rushing so far, Steve, and 55 total yards for Winona. The Dragons have just with 7. So certainly the first half of this first quarter is tilted toward the Warrior side. But that one good drive they had, the serious drive, was stopped, of course, on the fumble.
Berth got 6. Berth gets another chance. Berth still on his feet, dragging Dragon tacklers to the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 7 yards, and Winona State got stopped shy as we look at the Mid-Continent Instant Replay. This is just, what do they call it, ground and pound football. Straight up the middle.
Yeah, and I look at that, and I suspect that some of the Dragon coaches might be a little disappointed in the tackling too, right? There's been a few busted tackles here to go along with the Warrior offense.
Nelson with time, throwing long. He has a man. It's May. As he got a step down the far sideline on Jesse Belke. This is going to set up 1st and goal for the Warriors at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, we saw this Nelson a couple of years ago, didn't we, Steve? He was a little bit up and down at one point in his career. Pretty good numbers last year. They've always liked him. He's a big kid with a big arm, as they say, and certainly tonight he looks very much in control, very comfortable, clearly at the helm of this Winona State offense. A nice pitch and catch that time.
Broken eye formation for Winona State. Berth in the backfield, 1st and goal. Nelson under center, gives to Berth. He'll go down as he got tripped up. Looked like he got hit first by Joe Rademacher, the redshirt freshman inside linebacker, starting in place of Chris Lee.
Yeah, Lee came to camp, I believe it was something like a mono kind of condition, and he will be back. I don't know if he'll be back next week when they go to Concordia University, probably a couple of weeks. But they like Rademacher and McCarthy, a couple of young guys they can fill in, but certainly they do miss Lee.
2nd and goal. Nelson towards the end zone, overthrowing his intended receiver. Looked like he was looking for Cameron Johnson. Terrific one-on-one coverage by number 1 Sheldon Jones II.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to get the jump ball, and he threw it right out of the gym, didn't he? But Jones was there, had pretty good coverage on it, and maybe that certainly affected Nelson's throw.
Is Jordan Reaver a name Dragon fans remember?
I hope so. I think it's going to be a hard name to forget. Let's put it this way.
He's watching us as we speak in Germany, where he's playing professional basketball. Jordan, great to have you signing in, rooting for your alma mater. 3rd and goal. They could use a stop right here. Nelson rolling, looking, throwing, intercepted. Picked off in the back of the end zone. Are you kidding me? Chris Binford on the tip. Twice inside the red zone. The Dragon defense comes up with a stop.
Boy, if you're Coach Sawyer and the Warriors, you kind of feel haunted right now. Curse 2 nice drives, and you get absolutely nothing out of it. That time the ball looked like it was tipped. I think it was, and Binford there to seal the deal. Looked like he had thoughts of scrambling out of there, but he took the safest route and said, no, the Dragons will take possession out at the 20. And so once again, the Dragon defense, I know it's a cliche, they bent, right, so far, but they found a way not to break at the end. And so for a lot of yards and a lot of first downs, the Warriors, with nothing really to show for it, we are scoreless. And somehow, Stephen, kind of a defensive game is broken out here tonight.
I thought it would be 20-20 by now. Hodge, keeper, is going to get hit hard and go down. Apparently he wasn't down as he got drilled by Michael Ferrante, a redshirt freshman of defensive end out of Roselle, Illinois. Here's Ferrante ferociously hitting Hodge. They didn't mark him down until he got hit a second time, but they also gave him another yard. 2nd and 7, 3:33 remaining first quarter. Can't believe we're scoreless. Hodge, give, Medhog, here's some running room. He'll get the first down, picking up 6 yards. Terrific blocking that time by the center, Jack Bixler. I put on some weight over the summer. That wasn't necessary. Bixler did it the right way by hitting the weight room.
Yeah, and the good news, we got almost 600 pounds of Bixlers here. We got his kid brother here as well, who's pushing 290 as a freshman. They like him as well. But Jack Bixler, product of Minnetonka. That's good football down in that part of the country, and certainly a big part of the Dragon offensive front.
Swing, Medhog. Hit hard, but he picks up 5 rugged yards. as he gets taken down by Ryan Kane, who also shows the sportsmanship. I saw Jake Hodge a couple weeks ago at the West Acres Mall across the river in Fargo, and he said 60 Dragons stayed back just to lift weights and run and work out on their own this summer. Hodge tripped up. I don't know if he tripped up over his own feet or if he got hit by Mike Imperiali in the backfield. It's going to set up a 3rd and 3. 60 just seems, I don't know whether it's a big number or not, but it sounds like a lot of dedication.
It's a big number. It used to be a handful. A lot of the kids would work and do different things. But now these guys like hanging around. They like being with each other. Sometimes still do it twice a day. It's certainly an extraordinarily dedicated group.
Winona State showing blitz as Preston Prince, number 3, is in the slot on the far side. It's 3rd and a deuce with 2:05 remaining here in the first quarter. Jake, option. He's going to get the first down, and he's going to get drilled by Andrew Spencer out of Lake Villa, Illinois. This is working out just wonderful for the Dragons. Thank you very much. So far, there's Hodge down. There's Hodge down and not getting up. You talked about his viable backup, Demetrius Carr, and he's going to start warming up as Jake is down and uncomfortable as Keith Wiedrich is out to see him at about the 47-yard line.
Yeah, and we talked earlier on, he is a capable runner, there's no doubt, but the Dragon coaches have been a little concerned about this. They want to limit his exposure out there. Now you talk to Jake, he'd run the ball every time if he could. It's not a lack of courage or anything. You know, he's certainly more than anxious for that challenge. But the stark reality is when you do that, the chance of injury certainly is enhanced. Now, as I mentioned, the good news for that, the Dragons have a quarterback that has not only played before, he started before. They really like his potential. It wasn't long ago, Steve, a couple of years ago, they're talking who's starting, Hodge, is it Carr? In fact, it was Carr opening day at Augustana. So the Dragons certainly do not want to lose their leader here from Cass and Mandeville. But if they need to go to the bullpen, this relief pitcher they got is pretty solid.
This is the best thing that the Dragons could have hoped for, and that's Jake Hodge, hair flapping in the breeze and all, jogging to the sideline. But he's going to sit out, and here comes Demetrius Carr, now wearing number 2 at 6'2" and 224 out of Naperville, Illinois. He's had some terrific days, including his debut in that game against Augustana, throwing for 4 touchdowns 2 years ago. He has a 1st and 10 for the Dragons, just shy of midfield. The Dragons have been up against it this entire quarter, but their defense has come up with 2 stops inside the 10-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground, and there's Kane Griffith. Our friends at WDAY, the Mothership, and Dom Izzo did a terrific story on Griffith last night.
Interesting piece, yes. A big star for New Richland Colts, right? All-Stater as a junior, highly recruited going into his senior year, got hurt after game 1. He had 4,700, I think, career yards. And suddenly the phone stopped ringing. Basically everybody, it seemed, except Coach Lockway, had given up on him. He kept recruiting him. He got him here, and Kane yesterday in the interview said he was very grateful for the opportunity and to play again. And you could tell the excitement in his voice. He could not wait to get out after a redshirt season. But this is more than just goodwill on the Dragons' part. They really like this guy, Stephen. They think he's got a big part. And Coach Lockway told us, right, they'll move him to the slot some, and they'll use him as a receiver as well. So they like this young man in their program.
NDSU didn't want him. MSUM will gladly take him. He sat out his senior year of high school with the injury. He sat out last year as a redshirt, and now the former Richland County Colt, like you mentioned, is going to be a terrific backup for Medhawk.
Yes.
10-yard penalty from
Similar
the
tale
spot.
with Hodge.
Second
Now
down.
Hodge, when he was a senior, Casson played well the first game. He led him on a comeback victory and a winning drive. Our coaches saw that. He was hurt the next game, never played again his senior year. So his stock evaporated, if you will, and his opportunities kind of vanished. Only St. Thomas was really after him. Dragons like what they saw. It wasn't much of what they saw, but that window was enough to convince him. He came here, and of course, he's been an integral part of the Dragons ever since. So you never know sometimes when you get that extra chance.
Carr fires incomplete, in and out of the hands of Preston Prince. Good coverage that time by Mike Imperiali. 1:02 remaining, so the Dragons have to run a play. If they don't make the first down, they're going to be forced to kick into this wind again.
That's a good point, Stephen. If nothing else, just to get the first down, to get to the field position, if that works out. Now, of course, you know that Winona, if they felt strongly about it, could call a timeout, maybe force the Dragons to operate the other way. But the Dragons right now on a 3rd down and 19.
3 wide on the near side, 2 wide on the far side, including Adam Jiskra, who hasn't been involved yet. Carr with running room, gets taken down from behind. He just flat out ran out of time. Colin Corcoran made the tackle, and now Winona State is going to call a timeout with 55 seconds remaining in the first quarter. So we'll take it with them. We're still scoreless here on opening day at Scheels Field. 30 seconds, please.
What I love about bow hunting is the challenge, the physical challenge, the mental challenge. I love the fact that it's not easy. 12 years it took me to shoot a trophy whitetail buck. It's what I breathe, eat, sleep, bow hunting. When I'm working with a customer, I want my passion to rub off on them. I am Brandon Carlson, and I'm one of the archery experts at Scheels.
Three other games are going on in the NSIC tonight. How about the matchup down where the Vikings held training camp just a couple of weeks ago? Minnesota Duluth at Minnesota State Mankato. There it is. Concordia St. Paul, whom the Dragons will play next week, are at St. Cloud State. Southwest makes the long trip to Minot. 4th down, and Damon Gibson is back into punt. His first punt, not bad. 35 into the wind. Good snap. Gibson gets off a wobbler. This won't be returned, and it takes a Dragon hop, but then goes out of bounds. This will be a 23-yard punt with no return. So 49 seconds remaining for Winona State with the wind here in the first quarter.
Yeah, certainly the Warriors anxious to get the that opportunity, as you mentioned. Who would have projected even a scoreless first quarter? We're not through it yet, but only 49 seconds remain. But the Dragons come up with a couple defensive answers after some rather sustained Winona State drives. Winona has been a little more dominant offensively, but really not a lot to show for it. The quarterback Nelson, 5 of 8 in the air for 91 yards so far.
Cox in the backfield on 1st and 10 from the 43. Nelson wants to put it up, has all night, and now throwing long, and he's got a man.
Wow.
Incomplete, are you kidding me? That's their best receiver, Josh Mikas. He had a touchdown and dropped it.
Yeah, that's their first, I think the first time they've targeted him, he hasn't caught a pass yet. May has been their leading receiver. That was there. That was a fine pass. Certainly catchable ball. He beat the Dragon defensive back. May have taken his eye off it, but Sheldon Jones in the area, right? Ooh. But certainly.
I don't know if he got a piece of it, Scotty, but it seemed to me Micah should have made that catch. 2nd and 10. 5, now 6, 7 as Aaron Bold blitzing, and then they go to the draw, and it's Cox. He's got some running room. Another missed tackle. Cox still on his feet across midfield. He's going to get the first down after picking up 16 yards.
Yeah, the Dragons missing some tackles here, and the Warriors missing some opportunities, right? The couple long drives that went awry at the end, and then, of course, that drop ball there that very easily could have led to another possible score for the Warriors, but we are scoreless, in fact, with 25 seconds left.
Is it me, or could it be 21-0 Winona State right now?
Well, yeah, you have that kind of feeling, and you wonder what you know, the kind of message that sends, if any, for the rest of the game. If a little frustration doesn't build up at some point and bubble over a little bit for the Warriors.
Nothing for Dyrell Clark, and that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. A quarter where the Dragons dodge many, many bullets. End of one here for Moorhead as we take it a break. We're scoreless here on opening day at Scheels Field.
Around here, there's more than one way to live. And at Gate City Bank, there's more than one way to bank. We create banking to fit you. So whatever your way of life, we make it better. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Another day. And just like every day, it never seems to slow down. But you have a plan. Grab a cup, grab the paper, and grab a little time. Just for you. It's worth it. Don't get the paper? Just grab the phone. Call now and save up to 60% off the newsstand price. Journalists, bringing the story home every day.
Steve DeStatio, Larry Scott back with you here on opening day at Scheels Field here in Moorhead. 2nd and 9 for Winona State, now moving from left to right as you may be enjoying some dessert. Nearly feasting on Winona State was Anthony Binford, but his friends came in, including Aaron Bowl, to record the sack back in Winona State territory.
Well, Stephen, so far the first reports in total yards. We'll take a quick glance at, as we mentioned, Winona State 135 yards, the Dragons 74 yards. Nelson 5 of 9 in there for 91 yards, and Hodge 2 of 4 before he left. But the Dragons, with Hodge rushing for 53 yards, lead the Warriors there. But they're kind of moot points because, in fact, we're scoreless to this point.
3rd and 19. Nelson throwing over the middle. Incomplete. Terrific coverage by Abe Rorick in the slot, as Dylan Alfreds was the intended receiver, and now Winona State's going to have to do what the Dragons did all last quarter, and that's punt into this win.
Yeah, that's a difficult throw into the win. I thought the ball was pretty well thrown, but the coverage might even been a little bit better. Old Abe from Stanley, North Dakota, with great coverage that time. Of course, he is the Dragons' strong safety in essence. They use a couple of them at times. We'll see a lot of movement in that secondary, but a nice stop defensively for the Dragons.
Here's Michael Russell. Good high spiraling kick. Wow. This is going to go out of bounds at the 8-yard line. That's 52 yards into the win. That was a perfect spiral. I was a former punter. I'm jealous.
Yeah, special play by the Warriors. Special team indeed, and it bails them out of what could have been kind of a problematic situation. It puts the Dragons all the way back about their own 11-yard line. Early on, second quarter, we are scoreless at Scheels Field at Alec Nemzik Stadium.
48 yards on the punt with the help from the math. But either way, the Dragons start deep in their own territory, but their defense came up big again. Still scoreless here early in the second quarter, and Jake Hodge is back after getting injured late in the first quarter. Medhog to his right. The Dragon running game has been shut down. Broughton in motion. Medhog, a ton of room. Loose. He'll get taken down across the 25-yard line, 15 yards on a first down.
Yeah, interesting last year. As much as we talked about the Dragon passing game, they had a near 50-50 mix, right, between running it and throwing it. Of course, the quarterbacks do some of that running as well. They'll shoulder some of that rushing load, Hodge in particular. Now there's an option pitch. They get Medhog outside again. Comes up just shy of the 35.
Zane Medhog, 7 carries, now 8 carries and 38 yards. So now they're trying to gain some momentum, trying to reward their defense, who has stymied Winona State twice with turnovers in the first quarter, then a terrific stop here to start the second quarter. 2nd and short. Hodge out of the gun. Winona State rushes 4. Jake to his right. He's going to get the first down, then he's going to go where Steve Lockway, a whole coaching staff, and a couple thousand fans below us want him to go, and that's out of bounds.
Yeah, like I've said several times, I know he is a tough customer. We know that. And at times I know there's nothing he would like more than to turn it up and try and run over somebody. But for the Dragons' sake, and his too, that he's got to be very cautious.
Hodge throwing long. Jiskra incomplete. Covered nicely by Tamrick Atwood a senior cornerback out of Bettendorf, Iowa. That's one of the Quad Cities.
It sure is down there and by Moline, I think, and
Rock Island.
Rock Island, and yes, it's down by Hawkeye country. That time, pretty good coverage. That time, we're certainly expecting a lot out of Jisker tonight, and with good reason. He's had a big year, but I mentioned before, and I know you'll get to this. Lots and lots of receiving possibilities for the Dragons, but not Dan Grandy, who's out today with a damaged hand.
Hodge throwing, incomplete. There's Atwood and Jisker again. So they're looking for the senior that we both talked to in the air-conditioned Alex Nemzik Hall. Telling Adam Jisker it was only yesterday. This kid was just a freshman.
Yeah, and guess what? Winona's looking for him too, right? They know all about the guy. But you mentioned how quickly that passed. He's one of all those guys that came in. He didn't come in the first year under Coach Lockway. We'll get to that later. But he was there in that second wave that came in and started as freshman.
How can you sit him? 3rd and 10, Medhog in motion. Empty backfield, Hodge looking to his left, throwing, and it's incomplete. Good thing it hit the back of the melon of Zane Medhog, or that thing would have been picked off. And the Dragons are going to have to punt this away, I believe.
Yeah, Travis Frank that time got his hand on it in an almost interception. It was a deflection, but the Warriors unable to put it away, and so the Dragons again in punting formation. And so kind of amazing, Steve, the defensive stops we're getting from both clubs. So hats off, or helmets off, if you will, to the Warrior and Dragon defense.
Helmets off and time to crack open a cold one. It's a Pepsi punt, especially on a hot summer night like tonight. Doesn't a Pepsi sound cool and refreshing? High snap, Gibson shanks it out of bounds, but he was very athletic in getting that ball down and avoiding trouble. It's a 29-yard punt with no return with the wind, but again, that was a high snap. Now, we asked you, Scotty, in the first quarter, Pat Elms rushed for 3 touchdowns on 134 yards. It happened to be the last time that the Dragons beat Winona State. It was either 1976, 86, 96, or 10 years ago under Damon Tomeo. What's your answer?
Well, there was a string in the 70s where I think the Dragons beat them 14 times in a row, but that's long ago. But the one I remember in the 90s, mid-90s, 96, I'm sure Coach Ralph Michelli, right, who replaced Ross Fortune as the Dragons football coach and produced a conference championship. I think Ralph was at the helm when Elms was the quarterback. Final answer, 1996.
You went 10-1 last year, and now you're starting off strong this year. 1996 was the answer, 33-28. That was also Tom Sawyer's first year, the head coach for Winona State. They went 4-7 last year. They went 4-7 that first year. Those are his only losing seasons in a great career.
Yeah, it took him his second year. They were off and running, and he's a good guy. We talked a lot about him. We like the guy, a former player there at Winona. Been there a long time and had great results. One of the good guys in the league.
I'll get to a Tom Sawyer story in just a moment. 2nd and 2 for his Warriors. They keep it on the ground. Berth with a nice hole here on the near side. Gets around a tackle, a would-be tackle by Connor McCarthy. I always tell the story during basketball season when I'm at Winona or whether Winona plays here. Just going down to the McCown Gymnasium. It's cold. You got to hop on a bus and drive 6 hours home. Who's there to grab you from behind when you're not looking and say hi? Is none other than their head football coach, Tom Sawyer. I know you got your Jeff Tetch at Bemidji. Tom Sawyer, one of my favorites in this league as well. 1st and 10, Nelson.
Wow, nice.
Nobody covering Allen Mack.
Underneath.
Still loose, and he's finally going to get down out of bounds. Nobody was within a mile of May.
No, well-designed play. He scraped off underneath, not a soul around. I don't know if it's a missed responsibility. Somebody wasn't there, but Nelson found him. He knew he was wide open and instantly turned that up and turned it into something pretty good.
Winona State driving. They got down to the 6. They fumbled. They got down to the Dragon 5. They threw a pick. Here they keep it on the ground. It's Berth going nowhere. There's Jake Bussey putting his lid on the play. Berth only gains a yard.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. This is almost a flashback, a little old school kind of football. Both teams kind of willing to run the football, right? I mean, they're throwing it as well, of course. But the Dragons, we mentioned, if they can get 100 plays in a game, they would love to do it and keep the pressure on. Winona likes that up-tempo stuff as well. But both of them being patient today, kind of prodding around, exploring, seeing what they can get early on in this football game.
Nelson, off balance, throws incomplete. He was looking for Dylan Alfords, but well overthrown. So it's 3rd and 9. Can this defense come up with another stop?
Well, encouraging signs so far, indeed, the Dragons. Now, honestly, there were a couple stops that were blunted by Warrior turnovers, right? But they kept them off the board. That's the big thing. So we're scoreless to this point, 10-45.
Nelson 7 of 14 for a $125, and now faces a 3rd and 9 into this wind. With Elliott and May in the backfield, the Dragons have 7 in the box. Aaron Bowl on the near side showing blitz. He got a piece of the sack earlier. And now Winona State doesn't like what they see, and Tom Sawyer is going to have to burn. Nope. He tried to burn a timeout, but instead it's a delay. This will back him up 5. Rolf Erickson with the announcement. So it's 3rd and 14 for the Warriors from the Dragon 34-yard line. Jerry Ray, the brother of Jalen Ray, a redshirt freshman from Los Alamitos, California, number 23, at just 5'7", 151, dripping wet. And now Jack Nelson needs to call a timeout. We'll take a break. 10:45 remaining in the first half. Can you believe we're scoreless?
Mr. Goldman loved his family a lot, didn't he, Dad?
He sure did.
That's why he had State Farm life insurance, like you. So his family never has to worry, right?
Mr. Goldman didn't have life insurance.
Why not?
He was just a goldfish.
Ignore him.
Call State Farm agent David Eggers in Moorhead today so your family won't have to worry about whether you have life insurance.
We put the life back in life insurance.
Update your Dragon pride at the MSUM bookstore. Get the hottest Dragon gear to show everyone your love for the red and white. Go to bookstore.mnstate.edu or click on the Buy Dragon Gear button on the Dragons mobile app today. 3rd and 14. I know our great crew has shown many shots of this huge crowd here below us. Now the crowd gets loud again on 3rd and about 14. May the single setback, 3 wide for the Warriors to the left. Nelson throwing. Incomplete. Terrific coverage by Chris Binford as they were looking down the far sideline for Abe Folkerts, a senior tight end out of Applinger, Iowa.
Gosh, it almost looked as if he slowed up just a little bit as he approached the end zone and the ball was overthrown. That ball was thrown pretty well, Stephen, I thought, and but it simply will go as a misfire, and so the Nelson now 7 out of 13.
4th and 14 for Winona State. Can the Dragons do it one more time? May in the backfield. Nelson throws, complete. Kane, short of the first down. The Dragons do it again as Jerry Ray makes the stop.
Right, gave up a little, but certainly not enough for the first down. Good alert play that time by the Dragon defense, and so the Warriors gambling it a little bit, taking a little Montana Grizzly approach there, but it comes up short.
Dragon fumble recovery, Dragon interception. 3 and out for Winona State, and now a stop on 4th down. Is this the defense that Steve Lockway's been waiting for since he took over 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's not your grandfather's Dragon defense from a couple years ago, is it?
No, I'm not suggesting that.
No, what we've seen, very heartening so far. They made big plays.
So the Dragons get the ball back. It's Hodge, 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. It's Kane Griffith. A lot of running room. How good does that have to feel for the redshirt freshman that Scotty just documented coming off the severe knee injury a couple years ago? Here's your mid-continent instant replay of Griffith running hard for 12 yards and a first down. They'll throw. Broughton 5-yard gain taken down by Wood of Winona State.
Yeah, Medhog right now is getting some defensive attention. I don't think he's in anything serious, but he's going to set this dance out for a little bit. But then Griffith comes in. Yeah, I mentioned yesterday how excited he was, a little bit nervous. Man, he's had a response, hasn't he, in his first Dragon appearance.
Here he's going to get grabbed, but look at him fight for a couple more inches as he gets just shy of the 45-yard line. 3rd and 3. We know how good Medhog is, and now we're getting a taste of how good his backups are as well. 3rd and 3. 2 receivers on both sides. Now Hunter Broughton's going to go in motion. As Hodge wants to put it up, throws. There's Adam Jiskra. Terrific catch, just on a little innocent post pattern that goes for 12 yards and a huge Dragon first down.
Yeah, and you can call that pretty good coverage. But Jisker, that time, no matter how he's covered, we've learned this right over the last few years, Stephen. Man, the guy can catch just about anything. You talk about a case of frustration for defensive backs in this league. I know that young man's convinced that he covered his man well. It didn't make any difference.
That was all NSIC names candidates, Sir Vegas Steel, and I'm going to disagree with you for the first time. That wasn't good coverage. That was unbelievable
I thought it was
coverage as Griffith gets nothing here on 1st and 10. Approaching the 9-minute mark first half. We are scoreless here on opening day at Scheels Field. 2nd and 10, the Dragons in Winona State territory. Winona State blitzes. Hodge scrambling, now running. He'll pick up 3. He'll get taken down by Nikai Poyser, sophomore linebacker out of Round Lake, Illinois, 3rd and 6. Medhog back in the ballgame. He was just on the trainer's table, as Scotty mentioned a couple of moments ago. Now he's to Hodge's right. Broughton in motion again. Winona State rushes 4. They give it to Medhog, and he gets maybe 1 or 2, 4th and 5. Are you pinning Winona State deep, or are you going for it?
Well, that's an interesting call at this point in the game. Looks like my pleasure checks in for the Dragons. I don't think that they appear to be ready to settle for a punt at this time, 4th and 7. Out of field goal range, obviously, but certainly unwilling to punt the way it stands right now.
Montplaisir lined up on the wrong side. They are going to go for it on 4th and 5. Winona State showing blitz.
Yeah, we saw a Hodge punt out of this before, didn't we, Stephen? So, and he's, of course, in there to take the direct snap. So that's a possibility, the quick kick, if you will, too.
Well, now they're not, because this is an illegal procedure against the Dragons, I believe. Or is this an illegal substitute? Okay, it appeared as if they were going to go on 4th and 5.
Yep, this could
I
change.
don't see the kicker on 4th and 10.
No, it could change your line of thinking, though,
There it
couldn't
is.
it? Yep. Now it's been changed the dynamics here a little bit. The ball is on the 43-yard line. 7:39 and counting in a surprising scoreless first half, Stephen. I didn't think we would say that.
Maybach deep for Winona State as Damon Gibson's in for his his second Pepsi punt. He'll get it off. As Gibson gets drilled, a terrific punt that goes out of bounds at the 14-yard line. You see the applause. You also see the flag at midfield.
Right, a couple of good options that time for the Dragons. That was a terrific punt, and certainly, but we're going to get we think will be, roughing the kicker, and that would set the Dragons up with the first down.
Defense, number 98. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
The redshirt freshman Cale Stensgaard out of Rushford, Minnesota on special teams. Rushford into Damon Gibson, and that gives the Dragons the ball back at Winona State's 28-yard line. Huge mistake by the Warriors, not their first tonight.
Can't that age a defensive coordinator or a head coach in a hurry? Man, you think you've come up with the stop, you've done your job. You force them into punt a long situation, and then you get that.
Exactly, because we expected a scoreless ball game.
Yeah.
3 wide for the Dragons. Hodge looking towards the end zone. Throws over the middle. He's got a man. It's Preston Prince into the end zone, and the Dragons are on the board first.
Preston Prince missed a pretty good chunk of the last 2 years with different injuries. Came back this year, vowed to be an important part of the Dragon offense. And he is indeed. That's a touchdown strike. 28 yards set up by that Warrior mistake. And on first down, the Dragons cash in instantly. A wide open Prince over the middle. Hodge delivers a perfect strike, and the Dragons have broken the scoreless tie.
28 yards officially, as now Joe Chesvold in for his first career extra point try. Bad snap, great hold, and the kick is good. We'll take a break. 7:13 remaining first half. The home crowd is cheering the 7-0 score.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Scheels.
Jake Hodge with time, finding Preston Prince. We know how talented he is. If he can only stay healthy. And now Chesvold will kick off to Winona State. Tom Sawyer on the other sideline, and Winona State, who made the long trip up here from southeast Minnesota yesterday, they have to feel stunned that they're not up by multiple scores.
Yeah, Stephen, certainly, well, the Dragons really haven't dominated, but they do have the lead. But the Warriors got to look down. As they break down this film at some point, they're going to be troubled by their inability to finish off a couple drives. And then, of course, the penalty that we said helped set up the Dragon touchdown. And cash in by Hodge to Prince, and the Dragons grabbed that lead.
May not going to come out. How about the redshirt freshman, Chesvold? I don't know if we have a replay or the need of a mid-continent instant replay, but that was a bad snap from, I pay attention to the kickers. They're my guys, as you see Steve Lockway wiping his brow, pacing back and forth. A bad snap from center, but a terrific hold that time by Garrett Shelley, allowing Chesvold. I don't think that ball was stable, but it still went through the uprights.
Yeah, the transfer from South Dakota State delivers right away. He's out of Tartan High School in the city. He's played some big-time competition. And, Stephen, not to name names, but I'm thinking in the past few years, it seemed to me the kicking game was at sometimes an adventure, right? Particularly early in the year, the Dragons struggled a little bit with that part of the special teams, but not tonight.
Cox, straight up the middle, trying to drive forward. Joe Rademacher got his first career start in the middle of that talented linebacking crew. One of the folks making the tackle. Is that Steve Schutz, number 99? It is. He said he wasn't going to play as much tonight. Schutz, the 6'5", 270-pound senior out of Kimball, Minnesota, giving Drevlo and Darlene a break.
Yeah, the old man on the team, if I dare call him that. But he is a service veteran, a very likable guy who's come back and certainly is revved up for his last senior year. He's rotating. He's not going to start all the time, but he was fearful that because of an injury he wouldn't be able to play tonight. And like everybody else, he was so awaiting this game. But it's good to see that at least he has the opportunity to be out there. Remember, he made a couple block kicks in a row. We've seen him make some big plays in his life to help the Dragons out.
Micus got his first catch for 19 yards. It's a first down as Winona State is trying to drive here from their own 47-yard line, 6:20 and counting. First half, Dragons lead it 7-zip. Nelson, play action. All night, fires, incomplete. Chris Binford, who's having himself a night, got a hand in late.
Yeah, Binford, another one of those improved cornerbacks. They've talked about it. Our coaches have been so impressed with. They just think that they're on the verge. We're Artesia, California, and they really like him. They said he's come back and done a good job. There are a couple of Binfords here. Anthony and Chris have been part of the program for a long time. Now nearing the end of their career, ready to deliver big time.
Binford, the bottom and right of your screen on 2nd and 10. They go to the ground. Cox upended by Sheldon Jones, who's celebrating the hit, but Cox still got 5. It's 3rd and 5 for Winona State as Schutz gets off the bottom of the pile. See what 30 years of award-winning State Farm agency and claims experience can do for you with the David Eggers Agency in Moorhead. Auto, home, life, health, and business insurance service locally with people who care. Call 218-233-1334. Visit deggers.com. Today, 3rd and 5 for Winona State in Dragon territory. Nelson looking to his left, throwing incomplete. Sheldon Jones, great coverage far side.
I think what the Warriors were concerned or insist that Jones might have gotten there early, right? I think they were kind of adamant about that, but there's not going to be a flag that we notice anyway. Winona's not happy necessarily with the call or non-call, if you will, and suddenly it's a 4th down situation.
They're going to punt the football. This is a Pepsi punt for Winona State. It's hot. It's humid. There's Pepsi in the refrigerator. Crack one open. It's a Pepsi punt. Michael Russell had a terrific 48-yard punt into the wind. Gets another crack here. This one's shanked, and now the wind grabs it. It takes a dragon hop, and this is a 10-yard punt. This is what we expected into this gust, and this has to make Tom Sawyer sick.
Yeah, how he got that other punt away, we'll have no idea, but this time, really nothing to show for it. The Dragons set up in great field position will begin this next possession at their own 42.
The Dragons have 203 total yards. Winona State 172. Is it me, or I just believe Winona State has almost dominated this football game? They just haven't gotten into the end zone because of great Dragon defense.
Yeah, certainly. There's some frustration there. They kind of builds too. I don't know. It gets to a point where you go a series after series of near misses, and inability to cash in, and sometimes eventually you probably self-destruct. Meanwhile, for the Dragons, that just helps build more confidence, more faith in your defense, and the Dragons continue to find a way to make a big play to shut down the Warriors.
Medhog gets nothing on 1st down. Ian Murray wraps them up as we hit the 5-minute mark in the first half. Stay tuned, and John Webking and the Dragons Live crew have a great halftime lined up where some folks can win some great prizes right in front of us, and we're going to have that live coverage here at halftime. 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11 as Hodge fumbled the snap from Jack Bixler. Boy, he has gotten bigger. Number 60 in the middle. 3 wide for the Dragons on the far side on 3rd and 11. Medhog now in the slot next to his friend Adam Jiskra. Hodge fires complete. Medhog. He turned around right at the 1st down stick. He needed 11. He got 13. 1st down Dragons.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about his ability to run the football, how important he is that way. But we also need to be reminded how effective he is catching the ball coming out of the backfield. As you mentioned, great reaction to the ball that time. Turned it up for a 1st down.
Boy, I'm looking for 3rd down efficiency for the Dragons. 2 for 6. They got the 3rd down on the previous drive, which helped them get the touchdown. Then they converted the roughing the kicker call into the Preston Prince touchdown. 1st and 10, Warrior 46-yard line. Medhog, nothing. Nearly gets decapitated by Ian Murray, who's in on another tackle. He's having himself a terrific first half, number 52.
He is. The Dragons, of course, in search of the first opening day victory since Coach Lockway's first year, I think, when they went down and
Robert Morris
beat the new school Robert Morris in the suburbs of Chicago. Kevin Cook, I believe, was the Dragon quarterback that day, right? He's back as one now of the Dragon defensive coaches.
It wasn't 90-some degrees like it is tonight, but it was hot that day.
Yeah, I remember hot and muggy, and the only good thing is I got to go see the Cubbies the day before at Wrigley Field. But, yeah, it was kind of a miserable day. A good outcome, however, when the Dragons posted the win. Oh,
there comes a late flag.
Yeah.
Hodge went out of bounds, and then he got assisted by Ian Murray. We just mentioned he's having himself a terrific first half. Now he gets some minus points.
Yeah, another kind of bonehead play. Not a big hit, was it? But, you know, when you hit the quarterback, right? I mean, and that's like hitting the Pope. I mean, they watch those guys, right?
Dead ball.
I mean, I think that was a big tight end he hit. They probably wouldn't have worried about it.
Late hit out of bounds.
But certainly we want to
15-yard
protect
penalty from
quarterbacks.
the end of the run.
And regardless,
On that
it is a
first down.
mistake, and it's certainly that second time now they've had a defensive blunder.
The first time it led to a Dragon touchdown. Now they have the ball at the Winona State 28-yard line. 3:12 remaining first half, where the Dragon defense has shined. Now the offense trying to tack on another score. Broughton and Jisker on the near side. On 1st and 10, Medhog in the backfield. Hodge back. He's going to scramble, and now he's going to go down. Good pursuit that time by Winona State. Mike Imperiale, their fine linebacker out of Addison, Illinois, came in, and since Hodge lost about an inch or two, I guess Imperiale gets credit for the sack. 2nd and 10. Jiskra, lone receiver here on the near side, a little one-on-one with Cervegas Steele. Hodge, give, Medhog. Can't break a tackle, does pick up 4. It's 3rd and 6.
Wow, that almost broke, didn't it? Man,
Yep.
a Warrior got a hand on his foot. Otherwise, he would have popped that thing, and he might have turned that thing all the way into a touchdown. But Warriors, fortunately for them, come up with a big stop.
3rd down, Medhog looking for some running room, and it looks like he needed the 18. The guy on the near side is on the 18. The guy on the other side is on the 17. They're moving the sticks.
Yeah. That works with your old Maryland math, I think, doesn't it? One got the 18, one at 17. That's good enough.
Give him the 1st down. It's home. It's fun. Hodge, give, Medhog, straight up the middle, barreling inside the 5-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle made that time, I believe, by Colin Corcoran. As the Dragons are knocking at the door, Medhog had a huge hole opened up by Joe Bronnenschenkel and his friends. 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. They might be taking some time off the clock. 1:40, 1:39 remaining, 10 on the play clock. You want to score, you'd love to leave Winona State no time, but the object is to get in the end zone. 2 on the play clock. And there's a false start. That's what they get for messing around.
Yeah, you kind of wonder what will happen to the Warrior psyche if they get down by 2 scores. Now, they've been able to move the ball. They've been pretty patient offensively. Sadly for them, nothing to show about it. Some misfired, missteps at times. But, again, if the Dragons cash in on this scoring opportunity, that's certainly going to ramp up the pressure on the Warriors for the remainder of this half and then second half as well.
You've used the word bonehead for Winona State's 2 personal fouls. I'm not going to call an illegal procedure bonehead, but let's see if it stops this Dragon momentum. 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Hodge, give, Medhog, no it doesn't. Touchdown. He scored 5 of them last year on the season closing game. He scores touchdown number 1 here on opening day.
Yeah, we would never refer to our guys like that, would we? Because those are the good guys in the white hats, literally tonight. And that time the Dragons followed up with the run by Medhog, and the Dragons now, Stephen, expand this lead 13-0. And again, we can go back to that mistake, the late hit certainly by Winona State that led to some of their misery on this drive as the Dragons looking to build this to a 14-0 spread. 1:06 left in the first half.
Good snap, good hold, Chesfold. Looks like the Dragons have themselves a kicker. They also have a 14-point lead as we go to commercial timeout. 1:06 remaining here in the first half.
Hi, I'm me, and I used to be just like you, watching one game at a time, eating terrible snacks. Oh, but thanks to Buffalo Wild Wings 17-week program, I am now football rich. Now, I'm not talking dollars rich. I'm talking all the games, great food, beer, shares. But don't just take my word for it. Take somebody else's word for it.
Before the B-Dubs program, I thought I was football rich. Turns out, I'm just rich from football. Tommy.
Fantastic. If you've ever dreamt of swimming in a sea of football riches, now is the place.
Oh, Scotty, we're looking for some water. We got a Pepsi Punch all over the place. How about a dip in the pool if you're looking for a high-quality swimming lessons program? in the FM area, visit MSUMDragons.com/swim for the Dragons Swim School. Learning to navigate the water is easy with the help of the Dragons Swim School. I know they're terrific. I don't need them to find water on a hot night like tonight.
That's right. And speaking of a dip, it's great to be back in the broadcast booth with you again as we've been going through
here we go. They've already started.
For a long time. But no, it is a treat. And this is something that we've looked forward to for a long time, Stephen. A lot of challenges coming up, and I'll get to this in a moment. Next week certainly be an interesting one. They go on the road. But for now, the Dragons leading 14-0.
Chesvold. Another bomb towards the end zone. Cox from the goal line has some running room. Watch out. Cox loose down the near sideline. And he's going to lose the football, lose his helmet, but he keeps the football. You know what? You make fun of me all you want. I'm going to do your job. The Dragons scoring drive, 10 plays, 58 yards, 4:16 off the clock. Zane Medhog, the 8-yard touchdown run.
Hey, I think it was your buddy, the kicker, on the tackle, I thought, number 11. And
let's look right now. Here's our mid-continent instant replay. Please be Chesvold. Please. Boom. It was who knocked his helmet off and the football loose.
They never get enough praise, do they? They're only there to get criticized when things go wrong. Nice play that time by the kicker, and certainly a good return, though, by the Warriors. They have some time, 58 seconds left, ball at the 45.
Can you say nice play by the kicker again?
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here and revel in this. Chesvold, we got a new favorite Dragon, and it's early. From the 45-yard line, like Scotty said, Winona State has time. They only have one timeout left. Nelson with a lot of time as Nelson one-hops the ball to the near side to Lorenzo Mitchell, a tight end. Check that, 26, Eric Berth. Just a few seconds tick down, 52 remaining.
Yeah, that was some swell coverage, I thought, on Jones that time.
Yeah.
Really had him shadowed because if you notice, Nelson pumped, had some time, but just wasn't comfortable with the look he saw. Credit Jones.
2nd and 10. Nelson, again with a ton of time and now a ton of room. Near sideline, he's going to look for it, and he's going to get belted out of bounds by Sheldon Jones. He picks up 9. He only exhausted 7 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, big guy, number 19. He's pretty mobile. He can run pretty well that time. Nice play by Jones, and he can force him out of bounds. He avoided the late hit, of course, which we've talked about before. You don't want to commit that sin. And the Warriors right now at the 46, 3rd down and about 45 seconds left, and it looks like one timeout remaining on the ledger for the Warriors.
Pitch, Berth.
Wow.
Do they get him? Yeah. Anthony Binford's going to finish him off. Clock running. 3-yard loss for Winona State. I hear a whistle, and Tom Sawyer's going to burn his last timeout. So, after this mid-continent instant replay, we'll take a final timeout of the first half. 34 seconds remaining. Dragons up 14-0. Steve DeStacio, Larry Scott, back with you from hot and steamy opening day at Scheels Field. Alex Nelson with some help from Joe Schwer and all the great folks at Dragons Live making this telecast possible. Our first of 5 football games this season. 4th and 4 for Winona State. Nelson under center. Looking to throw. Fires near side, complete, and that's going to be a first down. Terrific catch that time by Alan May. Dragons didn't think he got the first down, but he did as Michael Strand makes the tackle. But May did get 5 yards, so the clock will stop. And now start again. We're under 30 seconds. Winona out of timeouts. Nelson, 3-step drop. Being pressured, and Jake Bussey's going to get him. He's going to go down. The clock continues to run as we're at 15 seconds. Now they're going to stop the clock. When I looked over before, It said Winona State had 1 timeout left. Apparently the scoreboard will keep it right here.
Now it's down to 0, Steve.
Yeah, now it's 1 minus 1. Apparently the scoreboard was incorrect when I looked over before, thinking that Winona State had just 1 timeout remaining. We keep it here, 17 seconds remaining first half. It's not the fact that the Dragons are up 2 scores that's shocking, it's that it's only 14-0.
Well, what's interesting to me and what's kind of revealing, if people looking at this, as you mentioned, that over in Germany or at all the ships at sea or our faraway friends, whenever, and they look at that and they go, the Dragons are pitching a shutout? It's 14-0 Dragons with 17 seconds left to go in the half. So lots of things to be encouraged about today on opening night, but certainly the Dragons' defensive play. Remember, this was a unit that's been pretty maligned the last few years, and they have really stepped up and stepped to center stage tonight.
Look at that. Can we go back to that crowd, Alex, just for a moment? This is wall-to-wall Dragon fans. There they are. They're standing up against the track. They're in the end zone. This is really a terrific scene here in Moorhead. 2nd and 6. Nelson wants to put it up. He'll throw. He's got May again wide open as he's going to search for the sidelines and get it. He's going to be just shy of a first down. 10 seconds remaining again. If the Dragons were to tackle a Warrior inbounds, that would pretty much do it.
Yeah, he may run out of time before he runs out of yards, right? That time, you know, they could have maybe turned that into something else. They don't have much time, if any, to waste. Just 10 seconds left. 3rd down and 1.
Third and 1, but maybe only 2 plays remaining in the first half. Berth in the backfield. They can't go to Berth. They got to put it up, and they do. Nelson looking towards the end zone. Incomplete. That's Chris Binford, who may have played his best first half of his career.
Yeah, I know Danny Fadlan's working with the corners has been extraordinarily impressed with him. He just thinks he inherited basically the same group of guys, but he just seemed so impressed with their work ethic and progress during fall camp. And he told me, don't be surprised, these guys will play well. And of course, they're backed up by some veteran safeties and the new guy, Michael Strand, at free safety. So right now that unit has responded extremely well. Oh, they've been hurt a little bit at times from Nelson, but the big guy who throws the ball pretty well. But when it comes down to the end, the Dragons have been there to shut down these drives.
Okay, Rolf Erickson, the white hat, just came over and blew his whistle. And while he was blowing his whistle, he threw his flag. I think we're going to get the explanation momentarily as a Warrior is down. It's TJ Bartles. Here comes Rolf Erickson with his finger on the microphone. I assume this is going to go against Winona State because Steve Lockway was called out to the field. There's Lockway dressed in a different striped shirt than our 3 officials. He's being talked to by Erickson. The side judge, Jared Budson, and the head linesman, John Caldwell. Tom Sawyer's out on the field. He wants to know what's going on. So we've got an injured Warrior, 5 seconds remaining, a couple of coaches on the field, and here comes Erickson. Rolf, where are you?
There is no 10-second runoff due to the Winona injury, as the clock had already been stopped due to the incomplete pass. However, during the dead ball, we had a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on number 95. That's a 15-yard penalty for taunting and includes an automatic first down. The clock will start on a snap.
That's Ryan Darlene. Now you can use the word bonehead.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty pricey mistake, isn't it? That's pretty pricey conversation there. They said taunting, I think, and we didn't see it, but we have to believe the official. 15 yards, the ball is at the 20.
Yeah, if my math is correct, the ball was at the 30. They said 15-yard penalty. They only gave him 10. And I think the officials are going to...
Maybe they heard you, Steve.
Boy, I'm bad at math, but I could have sworn that ball was on the 30-yard line. It was a 15-yard penalty for the unsportsmanlike, but yet they spot it at the 20-yard line. Winona State, it looked like they were going to try a field goal. Their kicker is Carter McCauley, who's going to try about a 37-yarder into this win. There's some wild stuff going on here at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I think they're trying to debate whether they could squeeze another play in here. 5 seconds. It would have to be something that would develop very rapidly and either get to the end zone or get out of bounds.
I'd love to see where that ball was spotted. I would have sworn it was at the 30-yard line because you got the black circled dragon, which just tickles the 40. Okay, they are going to call Carter McCauley, and this will be a 37-yard field goal. His holder is Alan May. Whistle, and Steve Lockway is going to burn another timeout. We'll keep it right here. Steve DeStacio, Larry Scott. Boy, this first half moves so smooth and so quickly, and a terrific football game. Now we're stuck with just a couple of ticks remaining.
Yeah, a couple of hiccups on this last possession, certainly a couple of mistakes, and obviously the Dragons would admit to one there. We don't know what unfolded, but we didn't see a big rebuttal from the Dragons. They accepted their medicine, but it was a mistake, and perhaps a costly mistake. We'll find out momentarily, but the Warriors hoping to get something out of this first half. First half, they probably haven't necessarily dominated, but it seemed they've had the upper hand throughout much of it, right, Stephen? And yet they're trailing 14-0.
I know that you'll detail the first half, but look at the plays and the yards. Almost dead even. 223 Dragon yards, 220 for Winona State, but the only numbers that count, 14-0, the Dragons have the lead as McCauley, we think, is going to try a 37-yard field goal into the stiff wind. Good snap, hold, and it gets blocked. It might have been Steve Schutz again. Special teams and defense dominate the first half, and the Dragons will take a 14-0 lead. No, there's one tick remaining. Well, after a knee, they're going to take a 14-0 lead.
Well, if it is, he's getting some attention from his teammates, but he's come out holding his shoulder and his arm. That's been bothering him all year. You know, he didn't hardly expect to play, but he has made some magical plays right up in Minot in the past, and a couple big plays for the Dragons. So we wouldn't be stunned if he gets credited with it.
Winona State's heading towards the locker room. There's 1 second. Now there's not 1 second left. Looks like the first half is over, and it might as well burn the final tick off the clock. So halftime here at opening day at Scheels Field. The Dragons lead it 14-0. Now let's go downstairs onto the field, and John Webby Webking with your halftime activities.
Where you're going to have a chance to win a one-year lease on that new 2015 Volkswagen Passat limited edition, that red car right behind all those gentlemen and the kid in the orange shorts, right over there. Hey, guys. All right. So we have our three contestants, Arsalan, Winona, I don't like your chances today, and Jamie. All three of them are down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to play a little poker. They're going to roll each dice one time. Whoever gets the best hand, poker hand, will win a one-year lease on that Volkswagen Passat right over there. So, I don't know which order I had these in. So we're going to go Winona. You're going to go first, followed by Arsalan, and then Jamie. All right, Winona, you have 5 dice. The only rule is that they have to rotate once. You can't just drop it. So why don't you pick up that dice and give it a roll. Forward. It's up, and it's a 3. That's a good roll. It's a good roll. Straight's on the table. Give it a roll, give it a roll, give it a roll. Get the next one ready. That's a 2. Straight's still on the table. A 3 and a 2. And a 1. Ooh, you want a 4 and a 5 would be really good. Oh. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh. You have a pair of 4s. That is your hand. Let's hear it for Winona, everybody. All right, Arsalan, you're up next, big guy. Why don't you grab that first dice and give it a roll? Grab that one right there. You got to beat a pair of 4s in order to move into the lead. Starts off with a 3 as well. All right. Second dice. 4. Okay. 6. Okay, we would like a 5 or 3 6s. A 2. A 6. 2 6s beats her. 2, 3, 4, 5 also is very good. 4. Pair of 4s. You guys are tied. So we'll have a roll off if you guys are tied. Okay. Jamie, good luck. You have to beat a pair of 4s. A pair of 4s wins you a brand new Volkswagen Passat courtesy of Valley Imports. First dice in the air, going the distance. 2. Try not to throw it into the stands, please. 4. We need big numbers. 3 of them. Ooh, Spinaroonie. 6. 2. Pair of 2s. A 2 wins it, and a 6 or a 4 wins it. 2, 6, 4. 2, 6, 4. 2. You just won a car. You just won a brand new 2015 Volkswagen Passat Limited Edition, courtesy of Valley Imports. Everybody, let's hear it for Jamie. Wonderful. That's how you start a halftime, folks. And this is how you finish it. We've got Steve Olson right here. Everybody, let's hear it for Steve. Yes, Steve. Steve here has a chance to win $20,000 in cash. $20,000 in cash. Did torch fall again?
We don't have a halftime person, so I don't think we need camera.
Here is what Steve has to do. Steve is going to do a pass, then punt, then place kick. And he's going to start from the back of the end zone. All he has to do is he's going to throw the ball wherever the ball lands. So spotters, make sure you get out here and grab a spot where that ball lands. Wherever that ball lands, he will punt the ball. Wherever that ball lands, I'm going to put my finger down, and he's going to have a chance to kick for $20,000. Steve, I have one question for you. What would you do with $20,000?
I don't know. Pay my kids' schooling.
School. What a wonderful investment, if I might say. All right, Steve, you got to stay behind the black line. Do not cross the black line. And give it a throw. Wherever it lands is where you punt the ball. Let's hear it for Steve. Mark it. Hey, that's a good start. That's a good start. All right, Steve, here comes the punt. You have to stay behind my line right here. Give it a boot. Oh, it's in the air. Oh. Hey, that's a long way, but I think you got this. I think you got this. Tommy lost a flip-flop. All right. I would love the privilege of holding this kick for you. All right. For $20,000, Steve. Give it a boot. Let's hear it for him. dang it. Ah, that dang line. Let's hear it for Steve, everybody. Coming up in the third quarter break, we're going to give a student a TV and $1,500 in cash. Stick around. Go hydrate. Hot.
It's a new stay at the Courtyard by Marriott, located just minutes from downtown Fargo, local colleges, shopping centers, and several restaurants. The Courtyard features a 24-hour fitness center, 24-hour on-site Starbucks, and our bistro restaurant and lounge open for breakfast and dinner daily. Relax in one of our 2 indoor swimming pools and hot tub. The comfort your family needs close to all the action at the Courtyard by Marriott. Visit our website or call 218-284-1000. That's 218-284-1000.
Valley Imports has something for everyone. It's that easy.
What I love about bow hunting is the challenge, the physical challenge, the mental challenge. I love the fact that it's not easy. 12 years it took me to shoot a trophy whitetail buck. It's what I breathe, eat, sleep, bow hunting. When I'm working with a customer, I want my passion to rub off on them. I am Brandon Carlson, and I'm one of the archery experts at Scheels. What I love about bow hunting is the challenge, the physical challenge, the mental challenge. I love the fact that it's not easy. 12 years it took me to shoot a trophy whitetail buck. It's what I breathe, eat, sleep, bow hunting. When I'm working with a customer, I want my passion to rub off on them. I am Brandon Carlson, and I'm one of the archery experts at Scheels.
Around here, there's more than one way to live. And at Gate City Bank, there's more than one way to bank. We create banking to fit you. So whatever your way of life, we make it better. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Another day. And just like every day, it never seems to slow down. But you have a plan. Grab a cup, grab the paper, and grab a little time. Just for you. It's worth it. Don't get the paper? Just grab the phone. Call now and save up to 60% off the newsstand price. Journalists, bringing the story home every day.
TV here, TV there. Yes, it's TV everywhere. In the car, in a tree. Midco makes it easy, see? Mid-Continent's TV everywhere. Take some of your favorite programming, well, everywhere on your mobile devices. TV everywhere on the moon? Not just yet, but maybe soon. Mid-Continent's TV everywhere. Free with your cable subscription. Click happiestdevices.com.
Steve DeStacio, Larry Scott back with you from opening day here at Scheels Field in Moorhead. The Dragons lead Winona State by the score of 14-0. The lights are on. The first Dragon night game since 1986. Let's take a look at some first half highlights. We thought we would have a bundle of them here. Your Mid-Continent first half highlights. Winona State drove all the way down, but then fumbled the ball. Dyrell Clark, the first turnover for Winona State, as Drew Lingle came up, or was it Garrett Shelley that came up with the fumble? Winona State got the ball back. Again, they go all the way down. Jack Nelson looking into the end zone, and then tip drill right into the hands of Chris Binford. So for the second time, Winona State had driven down inside the Dragon 10-yard line, but came up empty. Finally, the Dragons got the football, and ultimately, you know the Dragons would make Winona State pay. Right down the middle goes Jake Hodge, his first touchdown of the season. He finds Preston Prince from 28 yards out, capping an 8-play, 75-yard drive. 7-0. Then Zane Medhog. He had 5 on the ground the last time we were here at Nemzik last November. He gets number 1 here on the 8-yard run. That made it 14-0. Winona State tried a field goal as time expired in half number 1. It got blocked. It was a terrific Dragon effort, throwing a goose egg at a team in Winona State that averaged nearly 400 yards per game last year, and bring back a bevy of offensive players from a team that went 4-7 in the very difficult NSIC South last year. Let's take a look at some first half numbers while you look up at the sky, and we remind you after the ball game, even if you live in South Moorhead near campus, look up into the sky. We are planning a terrific fireworks display, and we're going to have some of that right here on WDAY's Extra after the field clears here tonight. For the Dragons, they had 220 yards. Winona State had 223 on the ground. Zane Medhog got his touchdown, carried the ball 12 times, 68 yards was Jake Hodge. Medhog, 14 carries, 64 yards. So it was Hodge and Medhog. No surprise there. Kane Griffith, a terrific story out of Richland County. The redshirt freshman, 4 carries, 17 yards, spelling Zane Medhog when he was banged up a little bit in the first half. How about Jake Hodge through the air? Just 6 of 11 for 59 yards. A lot of them gobbled up on the touchdown toss to Preston Prince. Medhog, 3 catches, 14 yards. Preston Prince, 2 for 28. For Winona State, they actually outgained the Dragons, 223 to 220. Jack Nelson through the air, 11 of 22, 174 yards, and the interception on the ground. Elliot Cox, 4 carries, 26 yards. 14-0, the Dragons have the lead. We'll see how many shock waves that creates throughout the NSIC. There are 3 other games going on tonight here on opening night of the football season. We'll get to the out-of-town scoreboard after this commercial timeout. You're watching live coverage of MSU Moorhead Dragons football on opening day from Scheels Field, presented by Dragons Live.
Mr. Goldman loved his family a lot, didn't he, Dad?
He sure did.
That's why he had State Farm life insurance, like you. So his family never has to worry, right?
Mr. Goldman didn't have life insurance.
Why not?
He was just a goldfish.
Ignore him.
Call State Farm agent David Eggers in Moorhead today so your family won't have to worry about whether you have life insurance.
We put the life back in life insurance.
$14-0, the Dragons have the lead. Let's take a look around the NSIC scoreboard here tonight. Like we mentioned, 3 other games. St. Cloud State leads Concordia St. Paul by the score of 21-3. Maybe no surprise there. Maybe a surprise, Scotty, down in Mankato. This is the defending national runner-ups, Minnesota State Mankato. The Dragons won't see them this year, and that's okay. Duluth 17, Mankato 3.
Yeah, what strikes me there, Dragons will also not see Sioux Falls, right? And
That's okay, too.
There's a lot of members on our coaching staff that insist University of Sioux Falls is the best team, better than Duluth, better than MSU Mankato, and we know how good those two teams are. So something of a surprise, so I agree with that. Duluth, of course, anxious for a little redemption because their season ended there. This one strikes me a little bit. There was an article in the Minneapolis Tribune talked about Concordia of St. Paul won their last 4 games this year, and they thought that they were an improved football team. And of course, they'll get the Dragons at home next week, but they are struggling a little bit today at Husky Stadium, trailing 21-3. And in Minot State, they've had some problems, eternal problems in the team, right? With some fights and dismissals and some of that ugly stuff that happens every now and then. And they are trailing at home at half, 15-13.
Yeah, we're going to get to Minot State. We're also going to get to Southwest. Mary, we'll see them later on this season. They are at the aforementioned University of Sioux Falls, whom the Dragons, like Scotty just said, the Dragons will not see this season. Mary at Sioux Falls Saturday at noon. Northern at Upper Iowa. That's a good Northern State squad taking on a good Upper Iowa squad down in Fayette. Minnesota Crookston at Wayne State. When will the Eagles get their first victory this year, or will they? They were winless last year. This is a good game at 6 o'clock Saturday night. The lone night game on Saturday. Augustana visiting your good friend Jeff Tesh and Bemidji State. But let's keep it local here, and we'll take a look at the Dragons' upcoming schedule. And there it is. Larry Scott and I will be on the air. We're going to say good morning to you this coming or next Saturday at 11:45 from downtown St. Paul. It'll be the first time that we get to visit Seafoam Stadium for a 12 o'clock kickoff between the Dragons and Concordia St. Paul. And then a week from Saturday, or 2 weeks, see, these Thursday games are just killing me. Somebody find me a calendar. September the 19th. Let's just go with the graphic. Those guys, Alex, Joe, they're all smart. 2 weeks from Saturday, September the 19th, we'll be right back here on WDAY's Extra for a 1 o'clock kickoff against Augustana. And then we go to Southwest, another one of those night games that Larry Scott loves.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting schedule. Somehow it doesn't seem quite as daunting as a few years ago. And I suspect that's because there's certainly an improved product that the Dragons are putting on the football team. You see a first half like this and you have a feeling that perhaps they can play with almost everyone in the league. But I will tell you one thing, that they're not even thinking about that at this juncture, right? They got a half of football to finish off first. And, well, the Dragons are in good shape. 14-0, they're well aware, of course, of Winona State. Pretty dynamic team on offense. They've stalled a few drives, but they've caused some problems, and the Dragons would love nothing better to jump first here in that third quarter and expand this thing even further.
You mentioned improved product. Look at the little emblem on your screen in the lower right-hand corner. That's the Travel Lodge and Suites. Our upcoming schedule is presented by the Travel Lodge and Suites. That's a great product. When you come to Moorhead to watch your Dragons play, plan to stay at the Travel Lodge and Suites in Moorhead. Call 218-233-5333. Mention Dragon Athletics. Receive a terrific discount. Mention Steve DeStatio, get a funny look.
Yeah, there were times years ago I could have invited the fans. Yeah, you can stay at my house. But not anymore with this throng we've got tonight. This is certainly the biggest crowd that we've had here in a long time. It's a little bit reminiscent of those wonderful Cobber crowds from yesteryear. I don't think it matches up because those had people lining the entire field and filling the other side. But that was a special era, and unfortunately that's gone. People will remember it with great fondness. But no need to apologize tonight. This is a big turnout, the biggest home crowd the Dragons have had in a long time. More importantly, they're entertained, they're encouraged, they're happy with what they're seeing. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
They wanted 6,200 here tonight, and there's the crowd. They know they're on TV now saying hi as you eat dessert at home. I don't know if we're going to get the 6,200 or not, but whether we do or not, like you just mentioned, this is a really nice try.
Yeah, it's a very nice turnout, and it really doesn't, to me, make any difference how many are here, because what's important is that they've made the attempt to be here, and I think what they like the product, they like what they've seen, and the support for the Dragons has been good, and it's continuing to grow, and I think that's the biggest encouragement of all.
It's a small sample size, 30 minutes. Do you like the product so far?
Well, I certainly do, because I think, well, we talk about the potential for Winona. It's always a little worrisome. We know that, hey, how about the Dragons? There's no doubt offensively they can get a little bit more done as well. Will their defense continue to shut out the Warriors? That's probably highly unlikely, but so far, so good.
Cox and Spencer deep. Chesvold end over ender. It's Cox from the 7, taking a left-hand turn and looking for some help. Cox loose. He'll get run down from behind. A good hustle play that time by Brandon Nelson, who ran him down at the 36-yard line. 14-0. Dragons throwing a goose egg. Winona State had a lot of opportunities in the first half.
Yeah, they did. Misfired on a few of them. You just mentioned Brandon Nelson, brings to mind former cornerback for the Dragons, then a safety. Another product of of Shanley High School. You remember it was the Deacons that sent us Coach Lockway to start all this. Then Miles Montplaisir, Tyler Rivard, and others of the Dragons. And the Deacons, a great relationship, and certainly Nelson, a big part of that.
Berth, spinning. He'll pick up 9 or 10 yards, and that's exactly what Winona State was looking for. If you think they're going to roll over and play dead here on opening day, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, you don't win 10 conference titles under Coach Sawyer and get to the Mineral Bowl 3 times and get in the NCAA playoffs without having a quality football team. Remember that, Stephen, it's a few years ago now, when they came up to play the University of North Dakota NCAA Division II playoffs in Grand Forks, and I remember people in town thought, how in the world is a team from that league getting into the play the mighty UND team? And Winona scared the death out of them and almost beat them in Grand Forks. Yeah, and that opened some eyes. Like, wait a minute, this NSIC is an emerging league. And so I give them credit for that. I think they helped really enhance the reputation of the conference.
Yeah, there's an injured Warrior down on the field as Steve Lockway is looking over his defensive options as the Winona State medical staff. This was the team, Winona State, that really put the NSIC on the map. This was one of the poorer conferences, if I may, and I know our great commissioner, Aaron Lind, is here tonight. This was one of the poorer conferences. Then Winona State got really good. Now, always friendly kid you. Well, this league will never get anyone into the playoffs. Well, you know what? This Winona State team back then did, which was such a tall order.
Yeah, and it all started against who? The Dragons.
Yeah.
They came from behind, beat the Dragons down in a close game when Matt Jones was Dragon quarterback. The Dragons had a drive to win the game at the end, fumbled. That was Winona's first big breakthrough win. They talked about it many times. Ludi, Curtin, the boys came along shortly thereafter. They've been off and winning ever since.
Second and short, Nelson hits May. He'll get drilled out of bounds by Chris Binford. He also got some help by Michael Strand, and Winona State's off to the races here. Just underway in the second half. They trail 14-0. There's nothing they'd love here, especially going into this still brisk win, than to get an early score.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that validate their second half chances if they could go into the win and score on their first possession?
You want to think the Dragons, you want to win this quarter if you can on the scoreboard. Watch out. Elliot Cox is loose. Still on his feet, dragging Dragon tacklers inside the 25-yard line. He picks up 22, and that's a big chunk of yardage.
Yeah, we don't know what happens at halftime, and a lot of people are curious if they've discovered something, if they've made some adjustments. A lot of times it's a little bit of a combination. Sometimes it's simply regaining your confidence, you know, and regaining your shape and getting ready to play in the second half. But for whatever reason, they've come out, they look to be, if not an inspired football team, certainly more efficient, Steve.
Or ticked off.
Yeah.
1st and 10. Nelson wants to put it up. Has a lot of time. Now it breaks down. Flags down. He throws a wounded duck out of bounds. Drew Lingle provided the rush. A flag came in the neighborhood of holding. Let's see if Rolf Erickson agrees.
He had a little traffic around him, one of his fellow linemen, I believe, and then also, of course, a Dragon defender. But the flag came down, I think, before he unloaded it.
I think Steve Lockway's thinking field position here. Here's Rolf Erickson.
Holding, offense, number 15. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
They got Elliot Cox out of Lake City, Minnesota. It was a 10-yard penalty. They penalized him 9 yards. What's going on? The original spot was the 23-yard line. They spotted at the 32.
Yeah, and the commissioner's here, right, for the league. So come
Grab
on,
a calculator.
Guys. We don't want to make a mistake in her presence.
1st and 19, I guess. There's Cox off left end. He'll slip and then finally get taken down. Looked like Connor McCarthy made one of the tackles. So first they penalized 15 yards. No, let's not go there.
Well, you know, we know they throw the ball pretty well, and I'm kind of curious and kind of impressed by the fact they come out in the second half seeming very patient, very willing to run the football, even there on the first long situation. They're not afraid to put the ball on the ground. They just have enough confidence. They think they can get the job done.
I think they're thinking 6.
Yep.
Nelson throws complete near side. It's Clark. Terrific tackle by one of the better tacklers in the league, and he's just a sophomore. It's Abe Rorick.
Oh, Abe Rorick, you're right, and he is one of the big-time hitters, too, for the Dragons. We mentioned another All-Stater, right, standing North Dakota. If you're curious, yes, indeed, there is quite a North Dakota flavor to this football team, with good reason. A lot of the Dragon coaches are North Dakotans themselves, and they breathe strongly in a lot of these kids. It's really fun to see these kids come from Stanley and Cavalier and West Hope, some of these small towns, and make big plays.
I webcasted his championship game a couple years ago. You knew he was special. Then I found out he was coming to the Dragons. 3rd and long. Screen pass. Clark near side. Loose. Gets back to around the original line of scrimmage. It's 4th and 10. I think if you're Tom Sawyer, you're not thinking trying 3.
No, I was just going to say, I think they've kind of soured on that after that last kick in the first half. I don't know if that's a strength of theirs going into the wind. They're down by 2 scores. It's a 4th down and kind of long, so maybe that'll, force their hand. But I don't think he wants to kick it, and I don't think he's going to.
I don't think he can make it. It'd be 40 yards against the wind. 4th and 10. Can the Dragons come up big again defensively? 3 wide for Winona State. Nelson throwing long. Complete. This would have been interference on Binford. It's the first time tonight he gets burned. It's Josh Mikas. So they convert. We think it's on Binford. They convert a 4th and 10, turn it into 21 yards. And unless my eyes are playing games on me again, this is going to be 1st and goal for Winona State.
Yeah, it drew a flag, but I think it'll be against the Dragons, but we'll find out.
Pass interference.
Yep.
Defense, number 9.
Very good reaction that time by the
penalty's
receiver, too, at the last minute turnaround. Not bad coverage. I didn't think we've said that a lot, but I think we believe that the coverage is indeed much better than the last couple of years. But a good throw. Hey, that's a big play, right, Stephen, on 4th down. Give the Warriors credit. 1st and goal.
Clark looking for the end zone. A knee went down, but he crossed the goal line. Touchdown, Darrell Clark, and Winona State's on the board.
Yeah, suddenly what seemed so rosy just a couple of minutes ago now is a little more cloudy as we look at it right now. The Dragons still ahead, 14-6, an extra point awaits, 11:50 in the second half. But if you are a Winona fan and a Warrior follower or believer, you've got to be impressed and you got to be pleased by that very effective drive. That's quite an answer when you're down 14-0. They certainly didn't panic. They didn't seem ruffled. They came up big plays when they had to, and the shutout is over. Now the Dragons certainly just fighting to win this football game. That's a moot point at this point. Now you want to get out here with a victory.
Extra point is good, and we've got a football game as we go to break. 11:50 remaining 3rd quarter. Dragons lead cut in half.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Scheels.
Steve DeStacio, Larry Scott back with you. The executive producer of Dragon Live is John Webby Webking, giving away some terrific gifts at halftime, including, if I remember correctly, somebody rolled a 2 with these dice out there that look like blocks on steroids or dice on steroids. Somebody won a car, a brand new car, to be leased for a year from our good friends at Valley Imports. So truly a special night here on opening day.
Well, it wasn't me, and it wasn't you, partner.
Well, I was up in the booth. I don't know where you went. Maybe you were out there winning the car.
So back to my 71 Olds Cutlass. But the Dragons now, Steve, 14-7, await the ball for their first possession. Way too early to talk, I think, about critical drives or critical junctures in the game, but there has a certain feel of importance as the Dragons get ready to set the ball in play.
Medhog from the 15 across the 30. Somebody lost the lid. Medhog gets 17 on the return. And the Dragons with some field position at the 32-yard line. Now, Winona State scored 8 plays, 64 yards. It took them 3 minutes and 3 seconds. An impressive drive against the wind. That's what's scary about this.
Yes, they'll get to win later, won't they?
Yeah.
And they didn't seem even overly concerned about that. And as we mentioned, they were more than willing to go for it on 4th down and convert that. So a couple big plays. And they just seemed very confident in their approach to it all. And maybe some other people that are believing in the Warriors are about ready to panic. Obviously, the Warriors themselves did not. Nice drive.
Let's see if the Dragons have an answer offensively. Medhog, a hole. Medhog, 9 yards. Things opened up in the latter stages of half number 1.
Again, the Dragons threw the ball a lot last year and threw it effectively. One of the most dangerous passing teams in the league. We knew that, but they like that balance of the run. They're a little bit old school that way. Hurry up, yes, but they like to run the ball as well.
They tried to run at that time, and they got nothing. In fact, they went backwards. 3rd and 4 all of a sudden. Hodge threw for only 59 yards in the first half. All we talked about was explosive offenses, and what we got for the majority of the first half was a whole bunch of defense. The Dragons need 4. 3rd down, 10:55 remaining, 3rd quarter. They are up by 7. Gibson in motion. Hodge back, in trouble, throwing, incomplete. 4th and 4. Steve Lockway puts his hand in his pocket. What does he pull out? Yep, they're going to punt it. He looked over at Kevin Cook and he said, I think you got to kick this thing away.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got the
wind.
And the defense has played well. I mean, take away that one drive. But I think he has still need confidence in the defense. I don't think that has wavered much despite the Warriors' touchdown. But with the win, you ought to be able to set yourself up in pretty good field position.
High snap again. Bad kick again. Flag down. It's going to be roughing the kicker again. This will be number 2.
Yeah, that has got to really frustrate Sawyer. Okay, the Dragons made the initial mistake, right? It's a high snap, and because of that, that allowed just a little extra time for the rusher to get there, the bullet, if you would, or something. And I think it's a right call, but he's penalized, regressive behavior.
5-yard penalty results in 1st down.
5-yard penalty, I think, probably running into the kicker, but regardless, it's enough, right, for a 1st down. I think he said 5.
Here it is again. Let me see. Gibson high snap, 2nd time tonight. Gets it off. Oh, I see what happened. What happened was Austin Hopfer, he ran into the kicker. He ran in between the legs of Gibson. Gibson goes down. I guess you got to give the kicker the right to come down. You said the quarterbacks are treated like the Pope.
Yeah.
You can't touch them. I guess the kickers too.
Yeah, and I really think with a good snap, you probably got that kick off, and then that wouldn't happen,
right.
If you're Winona. But because it is a bad snap, you get excited from it and think, hey, this play might blow up in front of it instead of blew up the other way. And, of course, the Dragons with the 1st down.
We talked about all the weapons the Dragons have. There's Corey Ambrose getting his fingertips on the ball the first time. He doesn't have a catch. 2nd down, 10 yards to go. They run it. It's Griffin. Boy, he's fun to watch when he accelerates. He picks up 5 or 6 yards, just shy of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, Griffin, 4 carries for 17 yards coming into the second half. Medhog, of course, the Dragons' leader, the bell cow, if you will, with 70 rushing yards, and Hodge with 68. Hodge been a little quiet of late now. Of course, he was dinged there a little bit in the first half. They're going to be a little careful with him.
3rd and 4 here. 10 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Oh, by the way, Jordan Reaver was watching our game before. He texted me. He said, it's 2:20 where I'm at. I'm going to bed. Swing pass, Jiskra. Side swipes a couple tacklers. Now he's finally going to get grabbed. It looked like Colin Corcoran was more interested in the football. And that's Adam Jiskra just being the great receiver that he is.
Yeah, Stephen, as this game's unfolding, moving into the 3rd quarter, we're beginning to see really the impact of this new stadium, the setting, and these lights. We mentioned we had 6 towers before, just 4 now, but the candle power brighter than ever. And of course, this turf field turf, as we mentioned, top of the line, identical to what they have at Nebraska, Minnesota, and Iowa.
Hodge, keeper, he'll get a couple. Wood makes the tackle for Winona State. Jared Wood out of Vernon Hills, Illinois. That's a good point. There's only 4. But look at your screen on TV. It doesn't look dark, does it? It's
No,
terrific.
that's what I mean. And now that I think this night game, the whole aura of it becomes almost more apparent to us now. It is an absolutely gorgeous setting here on opening night.
2nd and 8. Hodge throwing. He has a man. It's Ambrose. He'll make a diving catch at the 10-yard line. 24 yards and a first down.
The little big man from Graston, Minnesota, played by Braham. That time it looked like pretty good coverage, didn't it? It looked like a defender had a hand on it. Maybe he did, but it was a strike by Hodge.
That was great coverage.
You know, somehow if the Dragons cap this thing off, you know, Winona's got to think, oh boy. Yeah, you know, it is, you know, this thing, another drive that has been kept alive by a mistake by Winona, and certainly those things are, you know, have hurt Winona State, and it ultimately could prove to be the difference.
One of the Winona State Warriors is down, so we're going to take a moment. MSUM and Dragon Athletics would like to take a moment again to thank our partner Scheels for tonight's opening day here at Scheels Field. It would not be possible without their generous donation. This gorgeous field turf from all of us at MSUM. Thank you, Steve Scheels and all the great folks at Scheels, for making tonight truly special and historic.
Another major contribution by Scheels to the community, and of course the Dragons certainly are very excited about that and thankful, as you mentioned. I remember when I was a kid, I came here, there was a Scheels sporting goods store or hardware store downtown, not the one that are in there now. And from that kind of modest start, it might have been out at Baker's. Saban, I think, actually has grown into quite an enterprise, and they are giving back kind of people, I'll tell you that.
Okay, 1st and 10. Dragons got a little mini timeout. 8:57 remaining third quarter, and you're down here this far. Might as well get it into that brand new red end zone. That's what Steve Lockway and his Dragon offense is thinking. Medhog to the right of Hodge. Jake faking, throwing, end zone, touchdown. It's Medhog again. And now a late flag as he got hit. Medhog into the end zone for the 2nd time tonight. Touchdown, Dragons.
Well, if you're wondering if the Dragons would respond to that Winona State score, indeed they did. And that may be a pivotal part of this football game right there. The Warriors cut that deficit in half of 14-7, and the Dragons promptly, on their very next possession, come all the way back and score again. Now it's up to 20-7. Then Hodge that time, the Medhog, a perfect pass over the middle, wide open. I think kind of a late hit. I don't think it impacted the play at all. Pretty harmless to me, but what counts is a touchdown. Dragons hit 20-7.
Is a touchdown. After the touchdown, we had a dead ball, personal foul, necessary roughness on the defense. That 15-yard penalty assessed on the kickoff.
Okay, file that under the list of other Warrior mistakes. There's another one now. This one certainly doesn't impact the touchdown, but it will on the ensuing possession, right, Steve, on the kickoff and kick return. So just another mistake by Winona State. I don't know how many penalties they've had, not a lot, but they have really hurt themselves. They have really come at inopportune times.
Chesvold's extra point is good. We take a break. Midway through the third quarter, the Dragons respond. They're up 21-7.
Hi, I'm me, and I used to be just like you, watching one game at a time, eating terrible snacks. Oh, but thanks to Buffalo Wild Wings 17-week program, I am now football rich. Now, I'm not talking dollars rich. I'm talking all the games, great food, beer, chairs. But don't just take my word for it. Take somebody else's word for it.
Before the B-Dubs program, I thought I was football rich. Turns out, I'm just rich from football.
Time. Fantastic. If you've ever dreamt of swimming in a sea of football riches, now is the place.
All right, Larry Scott, you got a scoring drive for us?
All right, for the Dragons, 68 yards in 9 plays. It took just under 3 minutes at 2:59. Hodge, 11-yard touchdown pass to Medhog and the Dragons, leading now 21-7. We talked about penalties. they're even. 5 for the Dragons for 45 yards, 5 for 49 for Winona, but they seem so much different. And the Moorhead one certainly may have hurt a little bit, but they have been very harmful for Winona State.
That's the difference right now.
Yeah.
Is the wait a minute, Dragon defense, Winona ill-advised penalties, and now look where Chesvold's kicking off from. Do you put it past Lockway to try an onside kick here?
Yep, the Warriors have thrown for 211 yards against 108, almost doubled up the Dragons. But again, those mistakes, you hear about a lot from coaches, but boy, that's reinforced tonight how mistakes really can be harmful in a football game.
Chesvold didn't get all of that, but he got enough of it. Again, the result of the 15-yard penalty. Winona State will start from their own 25-yard line. 8:46 remaining. What impresses me is when the Dragon defense needed a stop or a turnover, they got it. When the Dragons needed a score, right after Winona State took the opening kickoff and shoved it right down their throats, they responded.
Yeah, and this will certainly be an important, if not critical, possession for the Warriors. They come back again. If they're able to answer, they're right back in this football game at 21-14 perhaps. But if this drive stalls out and they have to give the ball up to the Dragons, then they're fighting uphill.
Another missed tackle as Nick Eklund got the big hit on Darrell Clark. Would have been for a 1 or 2 yard loss. Instead, Clark turns it into a 16-yard run. Big hit. You'll see it right about, boom. There's the hit, but he didn't wrap up. And then give Clark credit for second and third effort, picking up 17 yards.
Yeah, they turn nothing into something kind of special,
Sure.
don't they? You're right, Steve. It was a big hit early, but it takes sometimes a little more than that. You got to close the deal, and they didn't do it.
Nelson wants to put it up. Throws across the middle, complete. Underneath Garrett Shelley. They hit Berth coming out of the backfield. That's across midfield. And just like that, Winona State is across midfield.
Yeah, and Strand is in that facility. We've talked a lot about this young man. I found out there's some genes in there, some bloodlines, I'll tell you. His grandpa, Andy McCarty's a member of the Dragon Hall of Fame, very successful coach at Parker's Prairie and Park Rapids. Sent a lot of guys to the Dragons here during his illustrious coaching career. He told me before the game, that's my grandkid. And he said he really likes it here. He's very excited about a chance to watch him play. And I said, so are we. And high expectations for this young man.
And around, Bull had a chance, couldn't get him. And now they turn it into a 5-yard gain. Aaron Bull with a terrific opportunity to get Cox for about a 5 or 6 yard loss and couldn't run him down.
That's about as close as we've seen to their collection of gadget plays, right? We talked
An end around.
Yeah, remember the old days, Statue of Liberty, flea flickers, throwbacks, reverses. You know, they had dial up a lot of exotic kind of things. We haven't seen much today.
It's early.
Yeah.
2nd and 4. Nelson. Scrambling. This time Bull wraps up a yard shy of the first down. We hit the midway point through this third quarter, and if you're Winona State, you go, okay, still 14-point deficit. We're moving the football. We're going to get the win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they're in, you know, certainly no rush. You know,
No.
they got ample time, and they know they'll have the win as an ally later in the game. And I think they're confident if they can close within a touchdown, that they'll be in good shape heading into the final quarter. And in fact, they would be.
Well, to get a touchdown, you got to get a first down, and they do.
Yeah.
Clark right up the middle for 3.
I saw something today, Stephen. I was wandering the halls of school, and I walked by a math class. Don't ask me what I was doing there. I glanced in. I knew that was way beyond my reach, but who's sitting in the middle of it?
Not
Aaron
me.
Bowl, number 44. The day of the game. He's not trying to get time off or anything. He's going to school like good student athletes do the day of the game. But on the board, with all the gibberish that I couldn't understand, the professor at the top said, remember, football tonight. And so even the professor's excited about this game.
There goes Cox near side. He'll pick up a few. Belke makes the tackle. 2nd and 4 or 5. You know, when I visited with Tom Sawyer earlier, he said, you know, we're leaving tonight, and some of these kids have class tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And my phone says 8:08. That's less than 12 hours from right now, and they're 5.5 hours from home.
I've driven that lonely road many times. I tell you, it's pretty down there when you get down there, but it takes a while. Now, they came yesterday and stayed at the Holiday Inn, so they led the life of leisure a little bit yesterday.
Nelson throws, no good. He overshot his wide receiver, Dylan Alford. It's 3rd and 4.
Yeah, that's one of the arguments a little bit about night football. College football, a lot of times, it's go on to the afternoon. Like you've been with us, we go to Duluth, the Dragons travel up there. You spend half the day in a bus, you get out. It's a tough environment. You're playing a real good team. And you don't start heading home until about 11. And then, you get home at 4 in the morning. It's really not a great situation in that. I know we like night games. We'll have a few of them. If we have them, and when we have them, I like the 6 o'clock start at least. That's a little bit better. But anyway, I like the afternoon affair, but man, I can't quarrel with this. Can you? This is an absolutely gorgeous setting, Steve.
Nelson throws, complete. He hits Mikes, and Mikes gets wrestled down by Strand. Mikes picks up 7 and another first down. I was just thinking, one of the great things about this night game is I've got about a 6.5-minute drive home. These guys got almost 6 hours. That's what I don't like
it's tough.
about the Thursday night. The Dragons did it. Remember 6 years ago, they opened up in Joplin, Missouri on a Thursday night.
And we got fans, right? Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa's heading down that highway later night. That's kind of tough.
Cox for 2.
Again, a rather effective response here, right, by Winona. Pretty good drive in progress right now. 5:20, the clock is winding down. We are beyond the midpoint of the 3rd quarter here on opening night in the NSIC 2015 season. Steve, I think that we're not alone in saying both you and I have been looking forward to this season for a long time.
2nd and 8. Dragons looking forward to some pressure. They get it late. Nelson scrambles for 6, 3rd and 2. I think what we knew coming in is there were pretty good odds that this was going to be a competitive football game, if not great, and right now we're bordering that way.
Oh, yeah, and obviously the Dragons certainly are a better team. They're deeper, they're more experienced, they have more playmakers. Everything is on the uptick. Now, how much better we're going to find out in a little while.
Nelson fires into the end zone, incomplete. Sheldon Jones applauding. He wants to be applauding after the next play because it's 4th down.
4th down and 2, and again, we're not going to see the kicker, I don't think.
We are.
Are we?
What? Why? This isn't football in 2000. This isn't the 90s football where field goals mean something. This is a 31-yard try.
He hasn't made that attempt yet. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if they throw out of here, but right now it appears that they're going to settle for the field goal attempt.
He'll kick it. Plenty of leg. Give him credit. He drilled it. Let's take a break. 4:24 remaining 3rd quarter. The Dragon lead is 11.
Scoring drive for the Warriors. 12 plays, 61 yards, 4 minutes and 22 seconds have evaporated, and it is a field goal by McCauley that closes this gap to 21-10. And we questioned that, and I thought, but wait a minute, last week I watched a couple teams, area teams play, and the team that's behind settles for a field goal late in the game, and everyone thought, you'll never get it back. No way you can win now. But they got it stopped, and the on defense went down and won the game. So what I think this illustrates is probably the confidence that Coach Sawyer and the staff have in their defense. They assume that they're about ready to put the brakes on the Dragon offense so they can get the ball back.
And confidence in their offense.
Right.
They're 2 scores down, and if you're thinking another field goal in the equation, a 2-point conversion, but that's for later. Right now, McCauley kicks into the wind. Not a bad kick either. Medhog from his own 7 across the 20. 2 hands wrapped firmly around the football. He'll go down, and so does a flag thrown by our field judge, Jerry Teagues.
Boy, and he was a long way from anything. Clearly, he's got good eyes if he saw something that far away, and he's huffing and puffing to get up to the other official and make the explanation. But he seemed pretty adamant about his decision. No second thoughts there.
I'm up here sweating, and I'm standing still. Those guys are downstairs in long pants running all over the place.
You know, I mentioned earlier that the
return, illegal block in the back.
Yep.
Number 21, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. It'll be first down Moorhead.
The training staff was concerned about the heat, and they came up with a plan. I haven't seen any cramping at all. You credit Keith Wiedrich, the football trainer, and his staff. I haven't seen any problems so far for the Dragons. I don't think there's been any really for Winona as well. So they stay ahead of the game. They knew the elements would be difficult for the players, but there's some adjustments now that they can make with hydration and other things. So illegal block, right, Stephen? And the Dragons are back up.
Yeah, the problem is they called it on Medhog. Medhog was the one running, so he couldn't have committed the foul. Either way, it backs the Dragons up. And now Medhog running. In trouble. He's going to go down. This is a big loss. And now Winona State's smelling a little blood.
Yeah, you know, they started to feel even better about themselves, you know. And funny how games can kind of tilt, too. You know, sometimes it's the slightest thing, and you let a team back in. You give them some hope and some confidence and another opportunity like this, and suddenly they seem to really regain their footing.
2nd and 15. Let's see if the Dragons can dig themselves out of this hole. 2 receivers on the near side. Medhog in motion. Option. Medhog with it. Nothing. He'll lose more yardage. Terrific tackle that time. Made by Nick-I Poyser, a sophomore linebacker out of Round Lake, Illinois.
Oh, and he played that excellent, didn't he? Strung it out himself and then put the finishing touches on it. Made sure that there was no wiggle room that time. And for Medhog closed in quickly. Now 3rd and 19 situation. Dragons backed up to their own 8.
Hodge will accept this snap, 1.5 yards in the end zone. Here comes Winona State. Hodge going to run it out. Still running. The guts of Jake Hodge will get him a couple yards shy of the first down, and now another flag. This can't be bonehead play number 4, can it?
I think it is, Stephen. And now we're going from a case of
wow,
foolish football to, you know, beyond that, and you're beginning to wonder what's happening on that sideline. It's certainly not a very good reflection on Winona State, and I don't know if this is part of their game plan, but certainly they have lost control of some of these kids right now. And look at it. This is, you know, rip the helmet off after the play. How stupid is that? And Winona has only themselves to blame. They had them in a big hole and another dumb play.
It was 51 Cieslak. Cieslak strings it out. He gets out of bounds. There's Cieslak. Look at that. Yeah. He just grabbed his helmet and threw it. I've never seen.
The craziest thing would be
Tom Sawyer is going to have the longest bus ride home tonight if his team loses.
Well, he better not put that kid back in the field anymore.
Wow.
If they tolerate that kind of stuff, that's unbelievable.
Hodge throwing long. Incomplete. I cannot believe they're throwing a flag.
Another
now
flag.
One. That was the clearest pass interference you've ever seen, as Damon Gibson got hogtied.
Well, I know Winona can't catch a break. They're getting flagged left and right now.
That was a penalty.
Yeah, that might have been. But some of this other stuff was, man, you know.
That was a penalty. He got hogtied from behind. That's why you heard the crowd. That's the easiest pass interference call that there can be. Now, ripping the helmet off, that's a little different. Here's Rolf Erickson.
Defense, number 21, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's Nick Taylor out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. Here's the replay. Let's see if they get a picture of Gibson getting hogtied right there. You can see his jersey get tugged from behind. 15-yard penalty, and the Dragons have gone from the 5-yard line to the 50 in a matter of moments.
Yeah, it looked to me like he had to come back a little bit on that, but nonetheless, the Warriors, they can't stay out of their own way right now, and these mistakes are killing them.
Medhog crushed at midfield by Andrew Spencer out of Lake Villa, Illinois, 2nd and 10. This is not, what I remember about Winona State teams is not indicative of the penalties that we're seeing.
No, this is kind of foreign to me too. I've always thought that, now teams make mistakes, and obviously they're not coached to do this. Things happen in the heat of the game. We understand that, but this is a little too many in a big game like this.
He's got Gibson again! Touchdown, MSU Moorhead. Damon Gibson with his first touchdown. Hodge hits him from 49 yards out.
And we told you there are a lot of options, aren't there? We've talked endlessly about Jiskra, and he's got Prince, and he's got other people in there. And now it's Gibson wide open. Hodge cool as can be under pressure. And again, the Dragons have a response. What a scoring drive. And Steve, moments ago, they were deep in their own trouble and deep in peril. And a few things include, excuse me, a couple of Winona mistakes. But there's the touchdown pass, 49 yards to Gibson, and the Dragons on the board again with 2:09 left in the third quarter.
He didn't get hogtied that time. Chesvold hits another extra point. 2:09 remaining third quarter, commercial timeout. Dragons up 12.5.
Each day is a race against time. The winners are the ones who find time to laugh and play and dream. They celebrate adventure, friendships, and new opportunities. Scheels can help you with fashion that's timely, whether you're far away or close to home. This is your time. This is your year. Scheels.
Steve DeStatio, Larry Scott. Okay, I'm going to do this again because we have time. We were pretty rushed in our introductions here. So in case you missed it, my broadcast partner was already a member of the College of Sports Information Directors Hall of Fame and the MSUM Hall of Fame, and in July went into the Northern Conference Hall of Fame, completing the trifecta. Congratulations.
Well, thanks, Stephen. I guess that's what you get for hanging around for a while, but it has been a particular delight to watch this league as I've had a chance for maybe half a century or so. It's great fun. It continues to be to this day. It always brings back a lot of great memories, and certainly part of that, obviously, is Dragon football. That's been something I've enjoyed thoroughly, and speaking of enjoying something thoroughly, pretty good effort so far by the Dragons tonight, and we're caught a little bit surprised, maybe by some of the mistakes of Winona. I think the Dragons is certainly, but give the Dragons credit too. When those things have happened, they pounced on them.
It's Dragons' resolve, but the resolve has the asterisk looming over it because of the Winona State mistakes.
Yeah, I think you got a couple of teams fairly evenly matched, right? We kind of thought that anyway coming in. I still think that that's probably the case, and then those mistakes are magnified. But good for the Dragons, certainly.
Cox from the 1, across the 15. He gets hit by Connor McCarthy, and he's going to stick him at the 20-yard line. Now, this is the football game we expected. None of those Pepsi punt stuff. Touchdowns, field goals, big plays.
Yeah, and I would, you might see a little acceleration in the Winona attack now. I would think they still have quite a bit of time, but I wouldn't doubt that they might look to throw the ball a little bit more. They were moving the ball pretty effectively either way, but it was mistakes, particularly in special teams and also on their defense, that have been really costly.
Another Warrior down. You mentioned the hydration. I mean, we don't know whether this is dehydration or cramping. I mean, one of the tennis professionals, Jack Sock from the United States, withdrew today because he collapsed from heat exhaustion. I think these are just normal football injuries where he got banged up. Jake Hodge got banged up. Demetrius Carr was in for a couple of plays. Hodge, this is not a vintage Jake Hodge game, but when the Dragons had needed a play, number 12's been in the middle of it.
Well, maybe that is kind of vintage Hodge, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that makes plays. Sometimes not quite so artistic. Sometimes something you can hang on the wall. Sometimes it's in the air, it's on the ground. But it's kind of like whatever we need. That's kind of been his MO, I think, over the years, and very much so again tonight. But he doesn't care. I know that about his numbers and any personal honor. He just, like anybody else, he wants to win. That's all that matters to Hodge. But sometimes, yeah, you kind of almost take him for granted. We're talking about other things, and then suddenly, bam, he hits a couple big plays. But you mentioned, in the injuries, that's why I was kind of impressed with Dragons. I don't think that any of those cramping issues or anything like that. They did have the injury that shelved Hodge, but only momentarily. And I think other than that, pretty much injury-free. We talked at the beginning of the broadcast there without their linebacker, Chris Lee. Dan Grandy, one of their many fine receivers, out with a damaged hand. Should be available, we think, next week or very soon. And Lee, too, will be back in the mix pretty soon.
Nelson does a 360, then throws a perfect spiral all the way down, and it's incomplete. Chris Binford might have been there a tish early, but give him credit. He was stride for stride.
That was a gorgeous pass.
With Kenny Greer, comes up a little late.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice pass, I'll tell you, but it may be better coverage. I'm not sure we saw that that coverage a year ago, did we, Stephen?
No.
From the corners? No, I don't think so. I think we've certainly seen improved play there tonight for sure.
Aaron Bowl got held. Abe Rorick fought off a tackle and fought off a block and made a tackle. Now Steve Lockway has a decision to make. 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 11. I would take the latter, decline this penalty, and make Winona State make a play.
Yeah, another Warrior mistake, another penalty for Winona. They're beginning to pile up a little bit. That will be, if it's accepted, their 9th penalty. We'll see. Dragons have kind of a nice option here. They can do whatever they want with it. They may stick them back there, really pin them in a hole.
This is the correct call.
Number 28, that penalty's been declined. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, Sir Vegas Steel. For a moment, Sir Vegas Steel plays defense.
You're right.
But anyway, at first it looked like they were backing him up. Now they've got one player. They got to kick into this wind. 3rd and 10 for Winona State. Here comes the crowd again. Nelson.
Whoa.
Blitz. Throw. Complete. Short of the first down. What a tackle by Sheldon Jones.
It was a great tackle by Jones, but great pressure the Dragons had on that time. Jesse Belke made that play develop much quicker than the Warriors wanted. Good pursuit from the outside, come crashing down. They were able to deliver, get rid of it. It didn't turn into enough.
This is what the Dragons wanted to see, and that's a Pepsi punt coming up. Crack open a nice cold Pepsi on a hot night like tonight. Russell in to kick it away. He's had a good one. He's had a shank into the wind. There's another middle of the road. It takes a Dragon hop. They're going to get the football at the 45-yard line after a just 18-yard punt. Now the Dragons can really put the hammer down on these Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors right now in some serious trouble, Stephen. Down 28-10, 51 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And on top of that, the Dragons in wonderful field position. They'll send their offense back out to the Winona 45.
They don't have to score in these 51 seconds if they were to take some time off this clock. There's still 15 minutes and 51 seconds remaining, but you don't have to be in hurry up mode to score.
No, they certainly don't. We're not sure, but they may not have to score at all the rest of the game the way they're playing, but obviously that's not their mindset right now. But first things first, a couple first downs. And
6-yard run.
Right? Now the one thing is you do have the win. Briefly, that will be gone in 40 seconds if that's a significant factor. I don't think it's going to be as big as it seemed a while ago. But at that point when it was a 14-7 game, that win seemed like a big thing to look forward to. But now with the Dragons scoring a couple of touchdowns, it might not be the difference maker.
Hodge going for another home run off the fingertips of Corey Ambrose. It's 3rd and 5. Clock is stopped, 23 seconds remaining. I know what they were thinking. Quick strike, maybe while Winona State's down. Kick off with the wind. Here's our Mid-Continent instant replay. All of our instant replays and highlights sponsored by Mid-Continent. Boy, Ambrose, if he was 2 inches taller or had high heels on, he might have caught that. 3rd and 5 for the Dragons from the 40-yard line of Winona State. Kane Griffith into the ball game in the slot. Empty backfield for Jake Hodge. With time. Throwing. Jiskra, yes! Touchdown, Dragons! Adam Jiskra for the first time this year.
It was just a matter of time before they found him. They've hit him on a couple smaller routes, but that time right over the middle. Him and Hodge, they've been on the same page together for a long time, and how sweet that is for those two. And suddenly, Stephen, this game is turning into a rather lopsided affair for the Dragons right now. Admittedly, there's some time left, but the Dragons have kind of blown this one open right now. 34-10, that touchdown pass for 39 yards to Gistra and the Dragons. On the board again, and Mr. Hodge now rather emphatically putting some pretty big numbers up, Stephen.
Chesvold has been perfect tonight. A lot of movement. Chesvold puts it through. That's what kickers do. Whistle blows. They still put them through the pipes.
5-yard penalty, replay the try.
Tyler Stish out of Moorhead, former Spud on special teams with an illegal procedure.
There's a few Spuds on this Dragon roster. They really like that. Another very good team over at Moorhead High, of course, this year, but the Dragons have had some pretty good luck recruiting there, and that's just kind of part of their philosophy. The area, you hear that a lot, but the Dragons, certainly that's a prime part, is recruiting the area, this part of Minnesota and the Dakotas, and it's a roster stocked with a lot of fine players from around the area.
Chesvold, 25 yards, same result. He's had himself a night. We take a timeout. 15 ticks remaining in the third quarter. It's 35-10. The Dragons have the lead.
It's a new stay at the Courtyard by Marriott, located just minutes from downtown Fargo, local colleges, shopping centers, and several restaurants. The Courtyard features a 24-hour fitness center, 24-hour on-site Starbucks, and our bistro restaurant and lounge open for breakfast and dinner daily. Relax in one of our 2 indoor swimming pools and hot tub. The comfort your family needs close to all the action at the Courtyard by Marriott. Visit our website or call 218-284-1000. That's 218-284-1000.
All right, the Dragons strike again. This time the scoring drive of 45 yards. 3 plays, really not much of a drive, more like 3 lightning strikes. It took just 36 seconds. And the Daggers, a touchdown pass from Jake Hodge to Adam Jiskra, 39 yards, and the Dragons score again. So it was a 14-0 lead at halftime. The Dragons now outscoring the Warriors 21-10 in the third quarter, is expanding their lead 35-10, 15 seconds left, third quarter.
You, my friend, are in my Hall of Fame of friends, so that's Hall of Fame number 4, whether you want to be in it or not. No one has ever accused me of being smart. I did say the Dragons, it would be in their best interest to win this quarter, and they not only won it, they won it emphatically.
Yes, you're absolutely good point, Stephen. A dominant quarter. When we look back afterwards, that's certainly going to be a major talking point in this game, would be the Dragons' dominating performance in quarter number 3.
Yes, there have been Winona State, you call them bonehead plays, and Tom Sawyer would be the first one to say that as you look at this tremendous crowd here at opening day here at Scheels Field. But still, Scotty, Winona State, it's 14-0 at halftime. 14, that's nothing. Maybe back when you started watching football, 2 scores meant a lot. Winona State goes against the wind, whoop, right down the field, 14-7. The Dragons come back and score. Winona State gets a field, they come back and score, and now they just really rub the salt in the wound.
Yeah, certainly the mistakes we mentioned that have been kind of critical for Winona, but I think we're both of the mindset that even without those, the Dragons would have put their foot to the metal here in the second half. I don't think that you would have denied the Dragons. May have blunted a drive or 2, but they were not done moving the ball or done scoring.
That Dyrell Clark loss of 5 summed up the third quarter for Winona State. End of 3. It's the Dragons up 25.
Valley Imports has something for everyone. It's that easy.
That's the crowd downstairs. This is Larry Scott. That's Chelsea giving us third quarter stats. And these numbers I'm looking at pretty even so far.
Yeah, they are indeed. If you look at total plays, the Dragons 60 plays, 385 yards. Winona 63 plays, 360 yards. If you look at that, raw numbers right there, you think you got a whale of a football game. But if you dig in here a little bit deeper, penalties have been hurting, mistakes in that, and the Dragons leading 35-10.
Flag down again. Screen pass complete. There's Abe Rorick. We've mentioned his name once or twice.
Yeah. Now 19 completions, 33 attempts for Nelson, Jack Nelson, the skilled quarterback Winona State. I think where we got a penalty now, Stephen. I think this would be kind of one of those games, too. It'd be kind of fun afterwards when the coaches go through. If you look at you'll have this dilemma probably. Players of the game. Sometimes it's fairly obvious, but I think a lot of heroes tonight for MSU Moorhead.
That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
Was it Abe Lincoln that did the 4-score speech? That's how many scores Winona State is down with 15 minutes. Is their offense explosive enough to win this football game?
Well, maybe the bigger question is if they score, can their defense stop them? And are they going to avoid stepping on or getting in their own way, right? That's been another big issue, of course. But offensively, they still remain a threat, no doubt about that. But they would need defensive stops to go with it.
Nelson throws complete. Jones, big hit. Man doesn't go down. First down, Winona State. As Cameron Johnson, 6'3", 227, bowled over Jones, who tried to blow him away.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the Dragons have given up a little over, approaching 400 yards of total offense. But, I think we both agree, still it's a pretty solid defensive performance. I don't think they care so much about the numbers. That they can live with that. But I think it's obviously just holding the 10 down. And so far on conversions, just 3 of 12 on third down Winona State. So the Dragons have been there at big play time as well.
Bowles stopping Clark after a 4-yard gain from 148 to the other. Remember, the tone was set when the sun was still out, when the Dragons came up with those 2 turnovers in the first quarter. We forget about them. 2nd and 6. Nelson wants to put it up. Throws. This play's worked all night long. May has been open. He'll squirt ahead. That's 13 yards and a first down.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. That was a good call, Stephen. It's kind of like, I don't know, a delay or drag pattern across the middle. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure whose responsibility it is, but he's wide open now. It's not a big gain, but you have the feeling sometime they may turn in something. But it's a great safety net for him, if nothing else. It seems like when other things are stalled, they can go to that.
1st and 10, 35-yard line. Johnson in motion. Nelson wants to put it up. Being chased, flag down. Nelson steps out of bounds. Garrett Shelley doesn't make the bad play by letting him go. What is the call? Rolf Erickson is pointing at the flag saying, who threw this? Oh, I did. Here's my call.
Number 89. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
6'4", 265 tight end Nick Margiotta, the guilty party. This will be 1st and 20 for Winona State.
Again, we're seeing some rotation. Youngblood going in and Aaron Bowl going back in, and other guys coming out. The Dragons continue to rotate. They like to do that anyway in the best of times, but I think it's especially beneficial on a night like tonight, right? Jimmy Roth, too, is another one. There's a lot of guys that now they feel can fill in. They may not play the largest of roles, but they're not afraid to throw them in the game.
Nelson not afraid to throw the football. Looking long, settles short. He hits May, who's been his big target. There is the aforementioned Jimmy Roth. May gets 7, 2nd and 13, clock running. 13 minutes remaining here on opening day at Scheels Field.
Yeah, I think a good reaction by Roth that time. And that's fun to see some of these younger guys getting an opportunity. Of course, it wasn't long ago when they were all young guys, weren't they, Steve? It seemed like now they have some real experience on this team, some senior leadership.
In and out of the hands of redshirt freshman Will Clausen. This will set up a 3rd and 13. There's Michael Strand. They call him the ball hawk. It's going to be fun watching him for the next 4 years.
Oh, isn't it, man? His teammates just rave about him, how his reactions and stuff that they see, even think it's impossible for him to come up with a play, and he'll cover boundary to boundary. He is all over the place. He didn't really impact that play, but you kind of wonder if the receiver didn't know he was nearby. He just dropped it.
3rd and 13. Nelson dropping, looking, getting away from Bold. Running, dumped by Belke, who might have took the worst of that punishment as one of his friends got him from behind. That's Carter Teal. That's another guy they really like. 6'4", 215 out of Wheaton, Minnesota.
Yeah, and his grandpa, Tony Teal,
here we go again.
Another great coach, and he's in the Dragon Hall of Fame. I tell you, baby, there's some bloodlines there, and the Dragons appreciate that. That whole Teal family. We'll talk about that down the road in some other game, but we like seeing that stuff out of Wheaton, Minnesota.
4th and 4. Incomplete! Michael Strand with the break up at the 21-yard line. The Dragons defense comes up big again.
Nice play by Strand. Just a little bit overthrown, perhaps. Nonetheless, he had the chance to catch it, and he may very well had Strand not been in the neighborhood. So, man, we've talked so often about this young guy today, and it's really fun to see this stuff pop up right in front of our eyes. I know the staff and everybody's so terribly excited about this young man. Takes more than one guy to make a defensive team, we know that, but he's certainly a big help, and that certainly, again, makes a big difference in your pass defense. But pretty good pass rush that time. Total team effort on the defensive side of the ball, and you wonder now if that, when Winona finally melts down, I mean, their confidence has to be slipping away now.
Mad Hog, big hole, hit from behind. He was waiting for a Miles Montplaisir block. I might get misty-eyed when Miles Montplaisir hangs it up because that guy is a Dragon and will be forever with all of his sacrifices.
Hey, Bob, the first guy to sign on board, right?
Yep.
Yeah, when Coach Lockley got the job on Placer, North Dakota Athlete of the Year, his state championship winning quarterback at Shanley, immediately decided to sign on with the Dragons. And they've played him all over, quarterback, running back, linebacker, defense, now tight end. He'll do anything to help his team and his teammates.
Hey, do this. No, do that. No. You know, we really need you to Coach, I'll do whatever it takes to help you out.
Yeah, and you can't imagine what that means to a team. What it imagines to a coaching staff. And when one of your better players does that, man. And certainly he has got the full respect of his teammates. And this is kind of a nice reward. All that time and energy he and his pals have put in. Remember, he came in early with young blood, and I think Bromancheko might have been here from the start, and there were just a handful of them that signed on that first year and redshirted. They've stayed the whole course with the Dragons. This would be their 5th year here, their 4th year as varsity players.
Illegal block.
And now they're getting the rewards for all that effort all the time. And this is a big reward coming up tonight for sure.
The Dragons are 11 minutes and 17 seconds, separates them from that reward. Tom Sawyer, whom you see in the background just for a moment, his reward in 11-13 and counting is going to be a near 6-hour bus ride home with an L. 3rd and 1. Montplaisir in motion. Nope, he's going to go the other way. Griffith right at the middle. Spinning, efforting, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. First down, Dragons. This kid's already fun to watch.
Yes, he is, and certainly he got a little hype the last week, and he kind of opened some eyes. People were quite aware of his background and that, but pretty inspiring story, and to see how excited he was to be a Dragon and how excited the Dragons are to have him. And that's another bright thing as they look to the future. Remember, Medhog is a senior, right? One of the seniors on the team. So, but don't despair, even though there's a lot of seniors, there's a lot of young, talented players, especially in the offensive line. We learned that, didn't we, Stephen, about all the young linemen coming the Dragons' way.
10:40 left in the ball game. Dragons up 35-10. Griffith dancing, running, getting wrapped up and thrown down. Big old Jeff Brown at 305 pounds out of Evanston, Illinois, makes the tackle. One question, since we had limited time during the pregame show, and I want to ask you now, and it's not a cheapie because the Dragons are up 25 and in really good shape. I'll ask you after this play. They're going to take more time off the clock. Why am I excited about this team? Why do I feel like this season could be something special?
Well, I think there's a mixture. I like the experience. I think that you know, I do think number two, I think there is certainly an upgrade on defense. I think that people knew all along, and the coaching staff would readily admit to that. That was probably the most troublesome aspect lately, and a lot of credit, or some of the credit, goes to Strand, but there's more beyond that. The safeties kind of, the rest of the defensive backs in return have played well. There's a pretty good mix on the defensive front and at linebackers. So I think the upgrade there. And then they talk a lot about the leadership and dedication. And I continue to marvel. These guys come over like every day and lift weights in the morning. They come back for practice. They go to class.
That's a 5-yard penalty.
And they seem to do all that with such great joy. They seem to, thoroughly, I know a lot of teams enjoy this stuff, but I think this is a wonderful example of a well put together program. I think they're well coached. I know that they are, highly motivated. And I think, to me, they got a lot of the ingredients of a winning program. And plus, I think we've seen them get their heart broken up over the past, Steve, so there's always that hope that someday their ship comes in, and it's certainly very promising start to the schedule right now.
Okay, here's 3rd and 8. Why do I also get the feeling that the Dragons aren't afraid of running a little clock here? Usually they're in hurry-up mode. Now they're going to say, wait a second. We're running the football. We're letting the time tick off the clock. And I look across the field and I see a lot of disheartened Warriors. It's 3rd and 8 for the Dragons from their own 45-yard line. Griffith in motion. Hodge looking, now throwing. And, well, that's awfully close to a first down. If not, I would assume the Dragons would go for it, even though they're up 25.
Yeah, I can guarantee you there are not many people here tonight that have witnessed a Dragon win over Winona, right? Was it 14 straight the Dragons have lost to the Warriors?
Mm-hmm.
And some of those games, admittedly, even kind of got out of hand a little bit. The Dragons were torched pretty good there for a while, particularly when they were younger and starting to rebuild this program. So this, in a way, is a little bit of payback, too. But it's a little stunning for, I think, both of us to see Winona handled in this fashion. But certainly they are their own worst enemy in a couple examples, and it hurt them greatly tonight.
Griffith gets the first down. He gets flattened after the play by Wood, but he'll take the reward, and that's moving the sticks. The only time I personally have seen the Dragons beat Winona State, it was kind of pretty special, even though it is now because it's been 20 years. My first year, 1995, I did that lone season. They beat Winona State 46-25 to win a share of the Northern Sun title. Little did we know 2 decades ago that was their last title.
Yeah.
Clock continuing to run. What an effort by the Dragons here tonight. Up 35-10 midway through quarter number 4. Hodge, Gibb, Griffith running hard. Hit from behind. Picks up 9.5 yards, 2nd and short.
We didn't get to say this a lot in the past, did we, Steven? The Dragons with a pretty big lead, trying to run down the clock in no rush, no sense of urgency, everything going fine. We didn't have that opportunity or joy very much in the past. Usually they were probably fighting uphill, trying to come back, trying to battle back as they did so often. So this is kind of neat to see, a little different position in this football game for the Dragons of 2015.
Griffith. He was on the left side of the line. He had to get to the right side of the line. I think he got to the line, 3rd and short. Boy, last year, our first 2 games, brand new on WDAY's Extra. They lose 73-21 and 69 something bad, and it was just awful. This is a lot more fun. 3rd and short, Griffith, first down. Enmore, still running, fumbles the football, and looks like Winona State's got it. No. Griffith jumped on his own fumble. That's another stat that we haven't talked about. Turnovers, Winona State 2, Dragons nothing.
Right, and always a big part of it, turnovers, penalties. They'll talk about that, turnovers. Certainly a factor. Penalties may be a bigger thing. Steve, yeah, you mentioned some of those earlier games we did, those real knockouts. But I remember Coach Lockwood and staff just always getting up off the floor, even when they got kicked around a little bit. Always going back to work, right? Always recruiting, always looking ahead to the future. Confident they were on the right path and not about to abandon that, And finally, I think they've convinced the rest of us they certainly had the right blueprint, right? But it took some time to build a stockpile this roster with enough experience and talent. But the good thing is now, even though there are a lot of seniors and they will be missed when they leave, there are an awful lot of good young players, and even more, we think, ready to buy into this program. And certainly winning like this helps, no doubt about it.
Let's stop talking about missing these seniors and let's enjoy this season.
Yeah, we're not,
We got
hey, we just getting started.
We're just getting started,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
5:23 remaining. What a drive engineered by Hodge, Kane Griffith, and here's another couple guys that we haven't mentioned tonight. How about this offensive line? There's Griffith again. Hogtied, but still goes forward for the first down. This guy lost his knee or blew out his knee a couple of years ago. Are you kidding me?
You know, I just saw that. I think the offensive line is probably really relishing this right now. You know, they'll tell you a lot. What's most fun maybe is running the football, playing some smash mouth football up front for old linemen, and they're getting that right now. And I bet they're enjoying every moment of this.
Everybody here in Moorhead is, except all the folks on the other side dressed in white and purple. We're down to 4:44, an old school drive manufactured by the Dragons. They throw, overthrown to Jisker. He has just the one catch, right? 2 catches. One, he got the key first down, setting up the Jisker touchdown.
Yeah, and I didn't pay much attention to their coverage, but let's be honest, he is going to be something of a marked man around the league if you're doing your homework at all. Other coaches are well aware of how effective he is. That having been said, there's a lot of other possibilities for the Dragons. They know that. So if he does draw extra coverage or something, it might open up another lane for Prince, Ambrose, a tight end, who knows.
Griffith getting 4 tough yards to the 16.
I think they can run anything right now that they want to except Hodge, right? You're not going to give the ball to Hodge now and have him do anything but other than hand off or maybe throw the ball, but you're not going to risk the chance of him running.
You hear the cheers down below. The fans want 6 more. 4 minutes remaining. It's 3rd and 6 for the Dragons. Griffith remains in the ball game. Hodge, give, Griffith in trouble. He'll go down. Terrific tackle that time made by Nick-Eye Poyser. He's made a couple big tackles here tonight. This is 4th down. As much as they like the new kid Chesvold, he's going to stay on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a code of conduct, right? You were a kicker, you knew that. I think there's a certain maybe decorum to it. Even though you have the opportunity to kick it, you're up 35-10. The irony, of course, you run it, you have a chance to score a touchdown.
4th and 9 for the Dragons. If at anything else, they've taken 6 or 7 minutes off of this clock, even if they don't get into the end zone.
Yes, it's had to be.
Here's a free play. Hodge will look towards the end zone.
Oh.
He's got Gibson, who comes back. Touchdown. Dragons. Flag down. Hold the phone. I don't see a flag. But I think we just saw the exclamation point. Here's our friend Ralph Erickson. It was a free play. Hodge just threw touchdown number 4. This is a regular old Jake Hodge game.
Well, you're right. See, quietly, his numbers have spiked up. Maybe not quietly. Maybe quietly to us. We've spent so much time talking about the defense and other people, and right under our eyes, Hodge has had another Hodge-type night. That touchdown pass complete to Gibson, 14 yards, and the Dragons score again. Steve, 41-10. Who would have thunk it? The Dragons all over the Warriors.
I cannot wait to come back from commercial timeout. Another bad snap, another great hold by Garrett Shelley. When we come back, you're going to hear the best Dragons scoring drive of the night. Dragons on their way to victory here on opening day at Scheels Field.
What I love about bow hunting is the challenge, the physical challenge, the mental challenge. I love the fact that it's not easy. 12 years it took me to shoot a trophy white-tailed buck. It's what I breathe, eat, sleep, bow hunting. When I'm working with a customer, I want my passion to rub off on them. I am Brandon Carlson, and I'm one of the archery experts at Scheels.
All right, another Dragon scoring drive. This one a little more time-consuming, 71 yards, 16 plays. It took 8:57. Wow. just what the Dragons wanted. Not only to take so much time off the clock, of course, ultimately to cap off with yet another touchdown. And I'm thankful now, Stephen, I'm thinking that we ran into Coach Sawyer before the game. Got to say hello to him, right? I don't want to bother him after the game. I suspect that he and his coaching pals and the Warriors are going to be in a little bit of a sour mood, and they're probably anxious to get out of here, get home, and get ready for their home opener next week.
Chesvold's kick picked up at the 18-yard line and returned to about the 22. 3 minutes, 1 tick remaining. My friends asked me, the Dragons going to win tonight? Well, of course I don't know. That's why sports are great. But who, raise your hand if you had the Dragons up 32 this late?
Yeah, I think we're probably in agreement. When I saw it was Winona, I thought that was great. Nothing really against Minnesota Crookston or Minot State or something, but I thought it would be fun to take on, if not one of the real blue bloods of the league, one of the more established programs. And I think Winona is. Admittedly, they might not be of the same caliber they were a few years ago, but they're still, we know, a pretty solid football team. And that makes this apparent victory even that much more satisfying to beat a quality team like this on opening day.
Nelson stays in the ball game, hits Berth out of the backfield, loses a couple. The offense, this is what you come to expect in this 21st century hurry up and run as many plays as you can. This is one of the best defensive performances we've seen in a long, long time.
I was thinking that when I looked over his shoulder, I'm staring at the scoreboard, and it's 10 points.
That's it.
They used to give that up in a couple of minutes in other years. And honestly, even big-time Division I programs have a difficulty on defense. That's, just an accepted part of life today. So for the Dragons to do this to a very good defensive team, wow. 139 yards rushing, that's all for Winona so far, the Dragons, with 243. And I know you'll get to the numbers later, but all accounts, and we know that really, guys, is 42-10. Okay, Nelson, as we mentioned, 22 of 38. He's thrown a lot for 269 yards, along a 26, sacked twice, but they've had 3 fumbles, and they've lost 1.
Here he throws it out of bounds, nearly hitting one of his assistant coaches. Exactly 2 minutes remaining. Remember, our next game next week, it'll be on the web, www.msumdragons.com. Scotty and I will have the call. We will say good morning to you, there it is, at 11:45 for a noon kickoff from Seafoam Stadium against the Concordia St. Paul team that lost tonight to St. Cloud State.
Yeah, and it will be, Stephen, the unbeaten Dragons. We're getting into game 2, right?
I love it.
We haven't had that pleasure since 5 years ago to say that. And in fact, and that win, well, it was fun over Robert Morris. That doesn't nearly match what's happening here tonight.
No, this one's going to feel good.
Yeah, this is a good team right now that the Dragons have a stranglehold on. This is a very competitive team. Maybe not the best in the league, but certainly one of the top-ranked teams. And I don't know if you mentioned, but of course early on preseason they were picked quite a bit ahead of the Dragons. According to league coaches, certainly felt Winona was a superior football team. Not tonight.
I still think this is a pretty good Winona State football team. Okay, they're not Sioux Falls, they're not Mankato, they're not Duluth. They're a pretty good team, but they also brought a gun with them and shot themselves in the foot. Nelson, to put it up, fires, got a man who gets hit by Sheldon Jones at the 47-yard line. That's a first down. That's Greer again. But, I mean, Winona State, they can only look themselves in the mirror, can they not?
Yeah, I know the Dragons have tacked on some things later. I don't think they would have held the Dragons off, but and they have, every right to look back and say, wow, why did we do that, and what would have happened? Clearly, it would have been a little different kind of game because the Dragons pounced right on those mistakes to score in this game. Suddenly tilted very quickly toward the Dragons.
Nelson being rushed, throws complete. This time we'll throw far sideline. Joel Hinkie out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. The sun was shining. Sweat was rolling down my brow a couple hours ago, and I said, doesn't this feel like it's Winona State 21-0? But as it turned out, it was nothing because this Dragon defense just found a way to come up with a couple of turnovers.
Yeah, it's here, as I mentioned, heroes in plentiful supply, and offensively Hodge and Medhog and all those folks, and we need to include the offensive line in there. But in some ways the night kind of belongs to the Dragon defense. We didn't get to say that enough in the past.
You know, missed tackling, as we saw right there by Tyler Stish, is something that will be addressed by Steve Lockway. I don't know whether they're going to practice this weekend or just come back and do a regular old Monday, but if there's a downside to this victory, it's missed tackling.
Yeah, a little bit. They've had some mistakes here. Now, also, you know, they'll get one of their top defenders back in the near future, too. Chris Lee, you know, I don't think he was missed a great deal tonight because of their overall performance, but he is one of the top defensive players.
Nelson into the end zone, touchdown, Winona State. Give them credit, the Warriors. They kept their first string offense on the field, maybe to prove a point. Hey, you know what, guys? We got things to clean up. We've got a couple minutes to do it. And now Nelson hooks up with Will Clausen. Here's the Mid-Continent instant replay. It makes it 42-16 with 42 seconds left in the ball game.
Yeah, and it takes just a little edge off. You know, that's something that, you know, the defense is going to be a little bit frustrated with. You don't like giving up a late score. I know you've got some backups in there. It's understandable. It certainly doesn't hurt anything in a way, but you know, it certainly, they were hopeful of limiting the Warriors to 10, but you know, Winona's coach too, they practice, they keep playing, so give them credit, and they are going to fight till the end and cap it off with a touchdown pass.
42-17 is our score. You're looking at Larry Scott, and you're looking at Steve D'Eustachio, and you know, we're going to get Matt Bosch up here, and we've got fireworks coming up, and I'd rather watch fireworks than look at us, so I'll ask you now, what are you going to take away from this victory? Well,
I think we've seen a lot of fireworks early, haven't we? You know, the kind we like a little bit more, to be honest, but I think I will take away the overall defensive performance. I've been told by coaches and people close to the program that they were expected the Dragons to be an improved defensive football team. I think they are. You know, when you talk to Jessica before the game, whenever you talk to these guys, you know, they are very confident. They know they're better. They think they belong with the better teams in the league. I know that they will enjoy this, but I know they will also kind of keep this, you know, in perspective, as well as they know there's a lot of games left in that. They've been through a lot of stuff, so they're not going to go emotionally overboard on this. But I hope they enjoy it. I tell you one thing, it would take a long time for them to get off the field when they meet up with their parents and family after the game, because that's going to be kind of a joyful celebration here in a few moments.
42 seconds remaining. I don't know if Tom Sawyer's got an onside kick or just kick it away, let the Dragons take a knee and take your medicine. McCauley with the approach. He'll kick it deep. And through the end zone. 42 seconds remaining. And we should hear this pretty large crowd here tonight really start to make some noise after a knee or two.
Yes, this has certainly been one of the more memorable opening night affairs that we've had in a long time. Steve, I was going to tell you before the game, I think two of the most wondrous words in all of college sports, opening day. Don't we all love kind of opening day? Well, I guess we need a disclaimer. It was really opening night tonight, but there's something always kind of intoxicating about the first game of the year, and expectations are kind of ramped up a little bit. And often, of course, in the past, the Dragons are unable to carry them much further, but not this year. And there'll be an even added buzz next week as the Dragons begin their preparation for Concordia of St. Paul. And you have the feeling that those good times hopefully stay with this program all year. But certainly on the right path as this clock kicks down, and now everybody gets to celebrate. Not just the coaches, which they will, and the players, but how about the fans? Stand them up. Standing ovation for the Dragons of 2015.
I love the scene that we just saw. We didn't get it on camera, but Steve Lockway just got embraced by Athletic Director Doug Peters. Our head man knows how important this was to this Dragon coaching staff. We'll talk to Matt Bosch after this commercial timeout. You're watching live coverage of MSU Moorhead Dragon football presented by Dragons Live.
Around here, there's more than one way to live. And at Gate City Bank, there's more than one way to bank. We create banking to fit you. So whatever your way of life, we make it better. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Another day. And just like every day, it never seems to slow down. But you have a plan. Grab a cup, grab the paper, and grab a little time. Just for you. It's worth it. Don't get the paper? Just grab the phone. Call now and save up to 60% off the newsstand price. Journalists, bringing the story home every day.
TV here, TV there. Yes, it's TV everywhere. In the car, in a tree. Midco makes it easy, see? Mid-Continent's TV everywhere. Take some of your favorite programming, well, everywhere on your mobile devices. TV everywhere on the moon? Not just yet, but maybe soon. Mid-Continent's TV everywhere. Free with your cable subscription. Click happiestdevices.com.
Welcome back here. What a wonderful opening night or opening day at Scheels Field. I'm Steve DeStacio. This is Matt Bosch. Congratulations. This is Dragon quarterback coach and certainly one of the ambassadors of Dragon Athletics. Your take not only about this atmosphere, about this crowd, but your team's performance.
It's just a great day, Steve. First of all, thanks to you and Scotty for coming back for another year with us and supporting us and all you do. And it's much appreciated. You guys do a lot for us, and we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's a great day to be a Dragon. We say that all the time, but on this new field with the support we've got, and it's not just about the field or the game or the win, but it's the community out here. It's Scheels believing in us enough to give us what they did, and it's a beautiful sight looking out there right now on that scoreboard in that field. And it's thinking back, Stephen, when we came here, where we were to where we are. It's been a journey and been ups and downs, and you've been through them with us, and it's a good day right now. I'm
looking forward to those ups. You beat a really good football team here tonight.
Yeah, we did. Credit to those guys. They've been good for a long, long time. And I was telling the guys that we haven't beat them since I was a senior in high school, the year before I came to Moorhead, and that's way too long. But that tells you a state of our program and a state of theirs. Sawyer's done a great job there. He really has. And again, kudos to those guys. They came in and they played hard. But we're a good football team.
Our producer Alex Nelson, our director Alex Nelson, asked me who the forum newsmaker of the game was, and he always looked towards the quarterback, but you know what? I gave it to you, and I said, you name him, and why?
Damon Gibson.
I love it.
He's not a new threat. He was there last year as a true freshman, but man, he's a big, strong, physical kid, and have that threat on the edge where Jake drops back, or if Meach is in, he drops back and just throws it up, and he's got a chance to get the ball no matter who's on him and who's guarding him. With that size, that's a new threat people got to look at on our offense.
Be really, really careful. I don't know if you're going to stick around for our highlights, but that last touchdown, the one that made it 42-10,
yeah.
Chad Walthall might grab him to be a rebounder because he boxed his man out perfectly and went high into the air and did something that I've never been able to do, and that's be athletic.
I'll tell you, watching him play basketball in high school, watching him two-hand dunk a few times, told us a lot about his athleticism as well.
Matt Bosch is the quarterback coach, but he's also a Dragon football coach. And I know you can't speak on behalf of the defense like a Rob Hunt can, but that team just found the resolve to come up with big plays. And while the sun was still shining, it felt like it was 21-0 Winona State, but they kept the Warriors out of the end zone.
And they fought, didn't they?
Oh, boy.
Our coaching staff, they worked hard. I can't tell you how hard they worked. It's hours and hours of film and talking to other staffs, getting our scheme right, but also getting our guys right. And to watch their progression, it's amazing. And our staff, again, has done just a phenomenal job, and our players worked their tails off to get right to where they were today. And they played a great defensive game. I know you want to get out of here and go downstairs with your offense, and you do. Just real quick, do you give them the weekend off and then it's back to the regular grind, or what do you do with them this weekend to celebrate this victory? And we'll be over this game tomorrow sometime. We'll probably, I think we're watching film at about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning as a staff, so we got a late night, early morning to turn around for Concordia St. Paul. So we'll enjoy it for the next 24 hours or so. That's what you got to do to move on. This is a tough conference, and it'll be a tough opponent next week again, but I'll tell you what, it feels pretty good right now, and it's going to continue for a little while.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
Dragon assistant coach Matt Bosch. What a victory here tonight. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll bring Larry Scott back. You're watching live coverage of Dragons football presented by Dragons Live.
Each day is a race against time. The winners are the ones who find time to laugh and play and dream. They celebrate adventure, friendships, and new opportunities. Scheels can help you with fashion that's timely, whether you're far away or close to home. This is your time. This is your year. Scheels.
Scotty, fireworks on the field tonight, fireworks here at Scheels Field at Alex Nemzik Stadium. Let's get you out of here. Your take from this game here tonight.
Well, certainly one of the more memorable opening days, opening acts, right, in Dragon history for quite some time. As we mentioned, 5 years since they won an opening day, but we knew that was kind of a mirage at Robert Morris. Not a good team. And in fact, there was the real awareness that season was going to be something of a struggle. But now you're beginning to wonder, just the next question, how good are the Dragons? Certainly very encouraging out of the blocks tonight. Winona State maybe a little bit disappointing to some, but things that we saw we like, typical Hodge, right? The Dragon offense is explosive and as versatile as ever. They could run it, they could throw it. A lot of people got into the act there, but I think most of us agree. I think the perhaps most encouraging element may have been the overall defensive performance. Special teams, pretty special as well.
Final question, get you out of here on this. I asked you earlier, I want to ask you again. Why do I have a special feeling about this team?
Well, I think they're kind of a little bit of the unknown. Now, people have asked all of us, like, what's a realistic goal? You've heard this, you've probably been approached. Some people say, well, they have a winning record. I think that's a modest thing. I know the players certainly feel strongly that there's more in store, but we don't know. Obviously, again, a better team. How much better, we'll find out in a while. But, man, look at Hodge on opening night. 5 touchdown passes, threw 22 times, 5 of them for scores. We thought he'd kind of vanish for a while. Not Hodge, and, again, balance all over. So, again, heroes all over the joint. But, Steve, I don't know how good this football team is going to be, but what I know is now this adds to the number of significant games. Suddenly that game next week at Concordia of St. Paul not only becomes interesting for us, but there are other ramifications as well. We want to see how far this Dragon Express can go, right? Yeah, I think that'll be a difficult challenge next week. But, hey, every game's going to be an adventure this year. But I think, we see some things. The defense, maybe the ability to come up with more stops than a year ago. Offense as explosive as ever.
Explosive,
yeah.
Explosive as these fireworks. Side note real quick, Jake Hodges 5 touchdowns, ties a career high. Only John Frickman on the final day of the 2003 season threw more touchdowns in a game than Jake Hodge did here tonight. It just didn't seem like he was that great, and you look up and his stats are remarkable.
I tell you, and it was just like whenever they needed it, he was there, right? He didn't throw a lot, but if you talk about big plays, effective efficiency, I don't know how those numbers would spell out. I think pretty doggone good, but he was just one of many, though, wasn't he? And again, that's what's so fun. But what is really fun now, there is a throng of players, family, and friends gathered near the practice field, which they always do, but this time they can rejoice. In the past, it was a lot of times there was some consoling going on for a good effort that wasn't quite good enough. Plenty good tonight.
Are you bringing the donuts a week from Saturday?
I probably will, and I was thinking one guy that's going to be excited. We mentioned Aaron Bowl today, and I know one thing that he'll be doing this weekend, watching his dad, Craig Bowl, open up his season at the University of Wyoming. They'll play the University of North Dakota. So there are a lot of interesting things in that, and we wish Coach Bowl good luck. But the focus, the spotlight on the Dragons tonight, baby.
I loved watching this Dragon victory, seeing this crowd, opening up this brand new era in Dragons football, the fireworks. I always love working with you as well.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Very good. And to be honest, there were times we came and we thought we were playing in front of friends and relatives. And now, whoa, look who turns out. The whole town here to greet these guys. I think that's another neat thing. I think you're going to see this growth and support for the Dragons even continue to mushroom through the year. I think it's great. We saw it in basketball last year. How much fun was that one? Man, everybody wanted to get on the bandwagon, and we think these young guys deserve it as well.
We'll see you next Saturday in St. Paul. Yeah. Larry Scott, you continue to watch the explosives outside. I'll give you these explosive numbers here as MSUM. You talk about balance. How about 238 rushing yards, 217 on the ground. They get outgained by Winona, 488 to 455. Jake Hodge, 13 of 22, 217 yards, a career high tying 5 touchdowns here tonight. He also led the Dragons with 92 yards on the ground. Adam Jiskra, 4 catches, including a touchdown. Zane Medhog, 4 catches, including a touchdown. Preston Prince, 1 catch. It went for a touchdown. Damon Gibson, 2 catches. They both went for touchdowns. It's not the last time we're going to mention Damon Gibson. In a losing effort, Jack Nelson with some very nice numbers. 28 of 45, 349 yards, and a touchdown. Some more fireworks. A lot of oohs and ahs from the crowd tonight here on a terrific opening day at Scheels Field. We'll let you enjoy the fireworks, but please listen to this real quickly. MSUM and Dragon Athletics once again want to thank our partner Scheels. Tonight's opening day at Scheels would not be possible without their generous donation. From all of us here in Dragonland, thank you, Steve Scheels and all the great folks at Scheels, for being tonight's game sponsor and this unbelievable day. Let's take a quick commercial timeout. When we come back, we'll have the highlights, second half highlights, and then we'll wrap this thing up. The Dragons are winners here on opening day.
It's a new stay at the Courtyard by Marriott, located just minutes from downtown Fargo, local colleges, shopping centers, and several restaurants. The Courtyard features a 24-hour fitness center, 24-hour on-site Starbucks, and our bistro restaurant and lounge open for breakfast and dinner daily. Relax in one of our 2 indoor swimming pools and hot tub. The comfort your family needs close to all the action at the Courtyard by Marriott. Visit our website or call 218-284-1000. That's 218-284-1000.
All right, let's take a look at our second half highlights. For Winona State, they struck first. Earl Clark, and you went, hey, wait a second, it's 14-7. But then the Dragons came back. That was Dyrell Clark with the 1-yard run. Then Hodge, looping, jump ball, touchdown. Medhog, his touchdown catch, made it 21-7. Winona State kicked a field goal, and then this might have been the killer. Hodge, all the way up top to Damon Gibson. The play before, he drew a pass interference against the Warriors. That time, a 49-yard strike from Jake Hodge. Hodge was not through. He found Adam Jiskra right down the seam, touchdown. That really put a hurting on Winona State. 35-10 after 3, and then for good measure, a jump ball to Damon Gibson, capping off a nearly 9-minute drive. The Dragons beat Winona State by the final score of 42-17. Now let's get to our Moorhead Public Service electrifying play of the game. Remember I said we're not done with Damon Gibson? Here's a little more Damon Gibson. We mentioned this one might have been the killer. Hodge from midfield, play action, and then going down the right side, finding Damon Gibson, the 49-yard touchdown hookup made it 35-10. Your electrifying play of the game presented by Moorhead Public Service, who reminds you to wash full loads of laundry whenever possible. If you have to wash a small load, then use the appropriate water level setting. For more energy-saving tips, log on to brightenergysolutions.com. Saving energy, saving money. You want more Damon Gibson? We give you more Damon Gibson. He's our forum newsmaker of the game as well, presented or introduced by Matt Bosch. As the fireworks continue, here is the second of his 2 Damon Gibson touchdowns. The forum newsmaker of the game is Damon Gibson, 2 catches, 86 yards. Presented by the Forum of Fargo Moorhead. Call 241-5445 today to get the Forum of Fargo Moorhead delivered tomorrow. That's going to do it. Let's get back to the fireworks. It's been a historic night here at opening day at Scheels Field. The Dragons win it 42-17. For everybody at Dragons Live, Steve DeStacio saying good night.
Today's game was brought to you by our corporate partners: the Courtyard by Marriott, the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead, Valley Imports, Matt Buss, WDAY's Extra, Richards Transportation, the MSUM Bookstore, Sanford Health, Gate City Bank, Mid-Continent Communications, Valley Pre-Owned, Moorhead Public Service, State Farm Agent David Eggers, Travelodge, Promotional Solutions, Pepsi, Pizza Patrol,